All right, I think we are back, and after much struggle, I've gotten it to be daytime for this flight as I'm recording it. As I'm recording this, it is Friday, December 19th at 7:29 p.m. Eastern Time, and I was struggling to get it to be daytime for this flight on Friday, December 19th, but now we've got it. I think we're about a little after 9 in the morning. We are taking off from, I think, a military airbase in Cuba, and that was San Julian, I believe it is. Yeah, MUSJ is the airport abbreviation. We're flying along the southern coast of Cuba, and then we'll probably eventually get to some other Caribbean islands as well. As I'm recording this, I'll be watching the Alabama-Oklahoma college football playoff game and occasionally chiming in with updates, I'm sure. As usual, we're going to listen to a podcast as we fly. We'll be listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show from this past week. I think there's 3 episodes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that I have not listened to yet. So the first episode would be from Monday, December 15th. The episode after that would be Wednesday, December 17th. And the last episode would be today, December 19th. So we're going to start with the Monday episode of the Tony Kornheiser Show, and we'll progress from there as we fly along the southern coast of Cuba.
Hey, it's Tony. On today's show, we will catch up with Michael Wilbon about what he was watching over the weekend. We'll also talk to Pat Forty about the scandal at Michigan. But first, how about a little commerce?
Guys, by now you've heard me talk about Collars & Co. makers because you're not sure where to start.
Be allowed to do, which you encourage them to do. Sometimes you don't like those decisions. And you want to be able to say, I love you, but I'm not crazy about that. But it's hard to do that because you don't want to create any, enmity between you and your child. So it's a hard thing to walk through and to do well. I don't do it well. I blurt stuff out. I'm not good.
The Tony Kornheiser Show is on now.
It's cold in Washington, D.C. Oof.
Our parking brake won't release, interestingly enough. Not sure what is going on. Hitting the right buttons, R1 and square, and it's not doing anything. There's always got to be something with this game. Oh, wait. Here we go.
Yesterday, it's really cold today. It's well under freezing. It's in the teens. Yesterday, the wind chill was such. Yesterday evening, it was around 0 when I went out to walk.
It just got colder and colder throughout the day.
Yeah, around 0, the wind chill. It's about 8 or 10 today.
It's coldest start to December in 20 years.
It's not as windy today, but it's cold. It's not getting over freezing.
It's so the
snow that we had. Now, we got fortunate. The snow that we had was not anywhere near the uppermost predictions. Capital Weather Gang at the end of business on Friday and beginning of business on Saturday the range was a coating to 4, and then they cut it back a little bit to about a coating to 3. We got about an inch.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but it ain't going anywhere.
No, not
right?
today.
And there's ice all over the street. So I'm walking in with crampons.
Yeah.
I'm walking with that when I walk the dog because there's black ice all over the place, and it's cold. That's supposed to warm up by the end of the week, maybe
50
50s.
on Thursday.
So that's fine. But it's, this is very, very cold. Let me thank a bunch of people. First of all, let me thank Robert Tiffey of Rockville for a very lovely note. Thank you very much for that. And let me thank a bunch of people for giving us directions on how to reverse the damage done to my phone by Apple. Like a lot of people, a lot of people know what's going on here. I don't. So Eric Thiessen in Calgary in Alberta in Canada, Stephen Good in Fayetteville, Arkansas, who gives me very specific instructions as to what to do to reverse all the terrible stuff that's happened to my phone. Step 1, hand the phone to Michael.
Well, that's the most important
which is
step,
important. Big Apple John Stieglitz in New York City, same thing. All about this, how I reverse this. Baron Lane, how you reverse this. He does it as if Apple were writing to me, which is very nice. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. I'm going to give these things to Michael, and we're going to fix this phone because it's awful.
The most recent update was yesterday. You were complaining because of to quote you, the red dots on the apps.
Red dots are everywhere. I don't
Just
know
had
what
a
it
few
means.
calendar invites that we had to accept.
And
you have an upcoming flight, just so you know.
It faded my picture of Chessie. It changed everything.
Leave the dog out of it.
It changed everything. There's got to be a way that I can refuse this. That I can say, no, I don't want your updates. I don't want your changes. I don't want your improvements. I don't want your improvements. I'm happy with what I have. And then in the middle of the night, they just do this. Yeah. It's just, the tyranny of that.
Make sure you're plugged in, connected to
just
Wi-Fi.
Bothers me. Just bothers me. What else? I have a lot of... do you want to talk about the mouse?
Sure, we can approach the mouse. I need to sit down for this one. I get the phone call from you. This is during the 4 o'clock games. I have a roast chicken in the oven that I am, monitoring the temperature, and you tell me that you have caught a mouse underneath the sink. It's in the far back corner.
The mouse, there's a couple of mouse traps. This particular mouse was a large mouse. This was not
a big mouse.
This was not a flush the mouse situation. It was not. This mouse was 3 times bigger than that mouse.
This mouse did not just enter the house. It's been living here for a while.
I guess.
It's got squatter's rights.
I guess. And it got caught in a trap. Its tail got caught. So there was no danger to its life. And it was squeaking. And I just assumed at some point it would gnaw off its tail. But I called Michael, and I wanted to get it. But I didn't want to get bitten by the mouse. And the mouse was all the way in the back under the sink. It was not going to be easy. I just told Michael this. I didn't expect what then happened.
Well, I come to the front door.
Yes. With tongs.
Tongs. I got the grilling tongs.
Got tongs.
And of course, this is always what happens. You and Mom start flocking around me. I'm like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want you here. I got a plastic bag. I got the tongs. Just give me some privacy, and I'll take care of it. Don't ask questions.
Right. I wanted to help, but
it weighed on me heavily.
Yeah. So
he's off at a rabbit farm right now, isn't he?
I'd say he stayed outside last night.
Yeah, he was outside last night. It probably wasn't good for him. And my guess is you think it was living here for a long time. They come in. They try to come inside when it's cold.
The mice adapt to your lifestyle, and particularly
I didn't know we
you guys
had a mouse.
And the dog. I mean, it's so easy for them to enter, and they need very little to survive. So yes, you have ones that are always coming in throughout the winter, but this one looked pretty big. My rule of
like it had eaten other mice.
If you don't hear it scratching the walls, if you don't see it scurrying around at night, and if you don't see droppings where you are keeping your food, then you just sort of have to understand that it is being as respectful as it can.
But here's what happened. I'm alone in the television area, and I hear noises in the kitchen. Significant noises.
Yeah. That's the telltale sign.
Things being sort of moved around, and I go into the kitchen, I look, there's nothing, I don't know what it is. The noise is coming from the sink. I thought maybe something was clogged in the sink, so I ran the water in the sink, and I ran the disposal in the sink, and the noise.
Sure, that didn't upset anyone.
And the noises were still going on, and I opened the bottom of the sink and went, oh no, there's a mouse there. And my history with
mice... There's a mouse in the house.
Yeah, my history is not good. Hence, flush the mouse.
Yes.
So I didn't want to, and it was too big to flush.
This sure was a mouse.
This would have been a...
What do you mean?
You said it's
like a
big.
bird?
No, it was a mouse.
Big.
It's not a rat.
It's not a rat.
Oh, no.
Not a capybara?
No, it was a mouse. So, anyway, thank you for that.
Well done, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. What did I want to say? Barry's Verluga wrote a column I liked a lot about the stupidity of bowl games.
Oh, yeah, and have their...
just because there shouldn't be any more bowl games. There just shouldn't be any more bowl games. So I need to read this. Because it's from our friend Chris Spear.
Oh, from the DC Grays. Yeah, we love Chris.
General Manager of DC Grays. I depart from my usual emails about the DC Grays to respond to your savage assessment of the UVA football team. Let me just say what I said. UVA is the villain of the piece. If UVA beats Duke, Miami is not in, Notre Dame is not out. All things go back to the Who's. That's just true. Okay. By way of background, I was a student athlete there, although not football, graduating from the college in 1984 and from the law school in 1987. My wife is also a UVA grad for both undergraduate and law school. My son received his MBA from the Darden School at UVA. So, yeah, kind of a UVA family. And UVA, let me say this for the 20 millionth time, is one of the best 3 public schools in the country. I'm not going to talk about Binghamton here, because it's not as big. There's UVA, there's Cal Berkeley, and there's Michigan. That's everybody's list. That's right, Michael?
Yep.
It's everybody's public school list. UVA. I once asked Harvey Stenger, the outgoing president of Binghamton, if he could be anything, if he could make Binghamton into anything, what would it be? He said Virginia. Right off the bat, Virginia.
Yeah.
So
got the lawn, you got the serpentine walls.
Yeah, so 2 different episodes of my favorite pod with the attribution of villain status to UVA and then the final insult of you reading a faux Dr. Seuss poem about them during the mailbag were a tough listen. We tend to watch most of the Virginia games, which is perhaps a form of family self-torture. This is generally not a pleasant experience, as UVA football has been basically flushing the mouse for most of its history. Consider, 1, UVA started playing college football in 1886, played in its first bowl game 99 years later. The Peach Bowl of 1985. 2, although there have been flashes of success under George Welsh and Al Groh. Yes, George Welsh was a wonderful coach. They are the only 2 of the last 13 head football coaches with a record over 500. In an effort to bring big-time college football atmosphere to the university, UVA installed temporary lighting and played its first night home football game at Scott Stadium in October of 1982 against Clemson. Virginia lost 48-0. 4, despite the glossy appearance of its 10-2 record this season, UVA won 3 games in overtime, improbably won another game via a tie-breaking safety in the last 2 minutes. The only team that was ranked when Virginia played them, Florida State, ended the season 2-6 in league, 5-7 overall, and they did not play either SMU or Miami, the 2 ACC teams were consistently ranked all season. All that is true. That is true. So villain, Chris Wright, seems a little harsh. We're not that good, either historically or this year, and had UVA won it, it would have been one of the weakest teams in the playoffs. In addition, they paid a stiff penalty for losing, being relegated to the Waffle House Bowl. Okay, it's the Citrus Bowl. In the TK wasteland of Jacksonville. I feel safe in my assumption you will not be attending. Well, of course, sent the usual DC Grace box of tribute despite the brutal treatment of my alma mater. And I read this to say how much we like Chris.
Yes.
And if I went to Virginia, I would write this exact same thing.
It's well written.
I would. It's well done.
Yeah.
It's well done. I will, and I come from a public school that does well too, a public Ivy, Binghamton University. But I will not back off my position that had Virginia beaten Duke, a team they beat 34-17 a few weeks ago at Duke.
Yeah.
Had they beaten Duke, none of this fallout happens. Again, Miami does not make the field. Notre Dame does. James Madison's out. Madison is out at that point, and then Chris can deal with the people from James Madison. That's not the deal. But it's a very lovely note, and I appreciate that. And we will take a break. And is there anything else I need to talk about?
Your latke review?
Oh, the latkes were wonderful last night with sour cream.
Yeah,
they were wonderful,
okay.
Absolutely wonderful. Where are they from?
Those are from Balducci. So I'm embarrassed to admit I did not wring out the potatoes by hand. Sorry, Coach Dan, but the latkes ended up being the highlight for the boys as well.
Yeah,
so
they were
thank
really
you
good. They're really good.
Great.
Really good. Okay, so Michael Wilbon, when we return, I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
You know how there's always that one person in the family who somehow wins Christmas every year? The one whose gifts make everyone else's look kind of basic. Yeah, this year, make sure that person is you, because Aura frames are basically the cheat code for winning the holidays. I have an Aura frame. I really love it.
We updated for you.
Yeah, it's so easy to set up. Well, it was easy for Michael to set it up for me. But all you have to do is download the Aura app,
It's got
connect
the
to
official
Wi-Fi.
family photos.
Yes, it's great. And start
It
adding
is.
unlimited photos.
All
and even
5 smiling.
short videos straight from your phone, if you know how to do that. You can even preload it before it ships, so when your family opens it, the memories are already there. And you can keep adding more anytime from anywhere, which Michael does for me. Every frame comes in a premium gift box, no wrapping required, and it's so personal. It actually feels meaningful. Honestly, it's one of those rare gifts that make people tear up and use it every day. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code TonyK at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code TonyK. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so order now before it ends. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Dan here from Heed the Call. You know how in football, timing is ever miss your shot? It turns that left.
It's called You Like Pickles, I Like You. And he says, I'm writing again to you today to say that betting in Missouri finally became legal on December 1st. I dipped my toes into this weekend by placing bets on Jeff's picks. Alas, hot streak came to an end with 2-3 record. I'll be listening later to try again. Also, I know you are baffled and fascinated by AI. I recently proposed to my girlfriend Christine and also wrote her a song with the help of AI singers. It is attached. If you'd like to listen or use it as a play-in song to one of your guests, as a fellow Bears fan, Wilbon would be my choice. P.S. She said yes. You sure it was her, or maybe it was an AI? This is unbelievable.
That'd be a different country song.
This is unbelievable. These are not real people. They're not real people.
I don't understand how this works.
I hate AI. Hate it. Plays in Michael Wilbon. Do you hate AI as much as I do? I hate it.
No, I don't understand it. I don't pay much attention to it.
Wow. Just awful. That's awful. All right. I would normally lead with the Bears with you, and we'll get to the Bears, but I was thinking, with everything that happened, the largest story, if I had to lay out a page and I had to write the lead on the top right, I honestly think I would say it was the injury to Mahomes. I do. What do you think?
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt. Mahomes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the dominant figure in the post-Brady NFL. So that's really, people are exaggerating it, but it's been 6 or 7 years. And Mahomes is he's that person. I mean, he drives the team that has been the winningest team in the post-Patriot era. And so it's Mahomes. It's the playoffs without him. It's not the same as the playoffs without Curry or LeBron, because NBA figures stick around longer and really have inordinate impact on a postseason. But having said that, it's still, no Mahomes and no Chiefs.
Yes.
That's a pretty big deal. And, the NFL is not like the NBA in that, as popular as Mahomes was, we were having this discussion at my dinner table last night, as popular as Mahomes is, they get replaced. The NFL stars, so the NFL, most important stories get replaced and fairly quick because people root for the uniforms. And there are fan bases out there that are enormous, and they need to be satisfied, and there are enormous fan bases out there that can be satisfied when you look at who's in the running. You've got the Bills, which is a crazy, large, unsatisfied fan base over the decades. You've got the Bears and Packers still in the running. You've got the Denver Broncos, who carry a region, although fewer people when you have Seattle in that. But you've got a Pacific Northwest fan base. So there's still, an enormous interest level that will be front and center this weekend, and at least these next 2 weekends as the season wraps up.
Yeah, and Mahomes, this is a torn ACL. Everybody assumes he'll be back in 8 to 10 to 12 months, but maybe he won't be. Everybody's body is different, so I think that's the largest story. I think the most amusing story, or the biggest, for people who don't understand the newspaper technology, the sidebar story, the second story, where you go, let's just stay away from the games for a second, but it's got part of the games, is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was much better than I thought. How about you?
He was complete. He did the things we expect Phillip Rivers to do. That's the reason for him back. The composure and the ability to sit in the pocket and deliver football. No, Phillip Rivers to me is way down the list. Michael Parsons is easily 1A, if not, if he's not tied with Mahomes, Michael Parsons.
Oh, he's not on the level of Patrick Mahomes.
No, but he's on the level of Phillip damn Rivers, I'll tell you that.
Well, he's ahead of him now as a player, but the stuff around Phillip Rivers, the fact that they would go to a 44-year-old guy, the fact that he didn't get killed, to me is a bigger story, to me.
No, then Micah Parsons,
yes.
Then the second best defensive player in the league on a team with Super Bowl aspirations, not a chance in hell. I was not curious about Phillip Rivers other than yesterday, the initial curiosity. That's all he is. And we did all that other stuff last week. By we, I don't mean just you and me. The whole national media got fascinated with Phillip Rivers justifiably and necessarily Thursday and Friday, or even Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. No, Micah Parsons on a game that is going to go to 40 million people on a frosty Saturday night in prime time. Micah Parsons is the deal. Micah Parsons is changing the fortunes of a team. Phillip Rivers isn't changing the fortunes of anything, except that he will distract, get up, and first take from the Cowboys because they don't have them anymore. I mean, Phillip Rivers is done. Phillip Rivers is over. His team is irrelevant. It is. I mean, Seattle beat them. Close game.
Yeah.
Good for Phillip Rivers that he play better than I thought? Sure. I don't know who Indiana has this week, and don't care because they're not a factor. They're third in their own division.
They're out now.
Behind Jacksonville and Houston.
Yeah, they're out now. They're out. I found
the caravan moves on for me.
Okay.
For me, maybe others are interested in Phillip Rivers. I'm not.
Let's lump the Bears. The Bears at home, the Eagles at home, the Texans at home, Jacksonville at home beat bad teams. Won comfortably. But, you're a Bears guy. What are your thoughts about how I'm sure you were worried at the beginning of the game, although the Cleveland stinks. They have no offense. They have no offense. They don't.
None. Well, all those games are you accurately lumped them together.
Yeah.
But it also, that in itself is noteworthy because we hadn't had that. I mean, the teams that were supposed to win games, the reason there's no dominant team in the NFL this season is because the teams that won yesterday's games in that fashion, they had not done that. They've been toppled. And yesterday, teams asserted themselves.
You're 100% right. The home teams, in things that look like mismatches, created mismatches, whereas in weeks 5, 8, and 10, they could lose those games. Right?
Any of the weeks, going back to week 1.
Yeah.
So the whole season have been characterized by teams' inability to do what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
And to emerge. Is there a set of teams emerging? So these teams, I don't know that one is an emergence, but it at least played true to form for one late week.
So I have no idea. I have no idea what the show is going to be. I mean, Matt Kelleher will tell me what the show is going to be. But if you asked me who had the most impressive win and whose trajectory is something you can have the most confidence in now, I would say Buffalo. Who would you say?
Yeah.
Would you
Buffalo.
say, Buffalo, right?
Buffalo, I thought Buffalo of those teams. Now, Tony, I will say this, because Buffalo beat the best team.
Yeah, at their place. And went down 21.
And beat the best team.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, Houston and Jacksonville look now like we thought they would last year. And then early this year, Houston and Jacksonville.
Right.
So I think that, you can group those teams legitimately together, but I would say Buffalo. Am I ready to pronounce them, declare them? No. Because New England was also a team that had a light schedule.
Yes.
They get confronted, even at home, by a tough team yesterday, and they couldn't produce. So I don't want to go crazy, but you and I, we're in agreement on that if we talk about the most impressive win.
So we had a story last week, I think it might have been Thursday or Friday, and we were asked, Mike and I were asked, what's your Super Bowl teams right now? And you said Seattle and Buffalo, and I said the Rams and Buffalo, and I feel pretty good right now because the Rams, that was a good game. Rams and the Lions. The Lions are probably done, right?
Well, Tony, not really, but let me agree with you again. So the show could be pretty boring. I would move off of Seattle a little bit, just a little.
Right.
I've been saying Seattle since the trade deadline.
Yep.
But the Rams look better. And the Rams have this unbelievably diverse offense now with 2 running backs and 2 terrific receivers and a quarterback playing at an MVP level. So I, too, think the Rams would be that pick in the NFC today. But before we dismiss Detroit...
Seahawks just beat the Rams last night.
and they're 8-6. So they got to win the 3 games. And it doesn't mean if they win the 3 games, they'll get in.
That does not.
But the third game is at Chicago. And if Detroit was to beat a Bears team that has the most difficult remaining schedule, that schedule is Packers this week, at San Francisco the next week, and then Detroit.
That's tough. That's
so
tough.
Detroit was to win that third game, while the Bears win only one. The Bears would be at 11, and Detroit and the Bears, if they're both at 11, Detroit wins because they would have swept the Bears head-to-head.
Tiebreak. So they get the tiebreak, yeah.
Right, and in that case, I was thinking about you last night because I said, Tony's going to come back and say, oh, wait, the first one doesn't count because it happened in September. No,
I'm not. This is not college. This is not college. No. This is not college. This is pros. This is different. I was impressed also, and I know they were at home. I was impressed with Denver because I thought they were going to be blowed out. I did.
Why?
Just the way Green Bay moved it early. That watching the game.
Denver's won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
They're always difficult to beat at home, where they played yesterday. I think Denver, and by the way, I could just as easily make the case for Denver as I make for Buffalo.
Yep.
Buffalo does have a quarterback who's been through these wars.
And it just feels like his time. I mean, he's stepped his level.
With Mahomes.
Feels like his time.
And Mahomes being out, the Colts having lost their guy, with all due respect.
Yeah.
But Denver's defense is better than Buffalo's. And by the way, if that thing goes through Denver, I don't know that I'm picking Buffalo to win in Denver.
Houston's defense.
Playoff games.
Houston's defense is better than all of them.
Yes, it is.
It's better than all of them.
It is. Tony, but the question is, yes, but if we're looking at a tiebreaker here, and that's what we could be looking at.
Right.
We're splitting hairs now. Who has the best home field advantage among those 3 teams? And I can't separate Buffalo and Denver. As a matter of fact, historically, having covered 40 years worth of road playoff games in Denver, going back to the young John Elway, I'm tempted to say Denver, Buffalo, and Houston in that order. Now, maybe somebody in these final 3 games will emerge, and it won't just be a matter of home field advantage. But from what I saw yesterday, I thought the Packers played really well, and they got beat.
Yeah, they got beat. Yeah, Denver.
New England stuck with it. Now that game wasn't in Buffalo. But and here's another question: what do we think of Jacksonville? Are the Jaguars somehow equal to Buffalo, Denver, and Houston?
They are surprising me. The Jaguars are surprising me because their quarterback, who I thought not a bust, but was just not as good as I thought coming out of college, is suddenly real good. He's suddenly real good. Trevor Lawrence is suddenly real good. So we'll see.
They seem to have gotten together.
That's right. The new coach
and found the other parts, Tom.
They have a new coach. The other part. New England has a new coach. Chicago has a new coach. I don't think this is coincidence because they got the right guys. They got the right guys.
They seem to have the right guys, at least for these groups.
I agree.
That rally for them. And, I don't know, the Bears, of those teams you mentioned, the Bears are the team that don't have anybody even remotely that you'd mention for MVP. Not even remotely.
No,
not even this side of the ball.
No, they don't.
Yet.
They don't.
Yet, the Bears have won 10 of 12. And have this huge game Saturday night.
We'll see.
Against the Packers, which will go a long way.
All righty. I'll see you later.
All right, Tom.
Michael Wilbon, boys and girls. We will take a break. We will come back with Pat 40. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
To everyone who craves a handcrafted treat, is the Tony Kornheiser Show. Tony Kornheiser Show. I was gonna get up.
This is a group called Your Old Radio. They have sent us tunes before, I think.
Yes, they have.
They have a show at the Pearl Street Warehouse on the Wharf in Washington, D.C. on December 18th. That's in 3 days?
Yes, today's the 15th, so yeah.
So what's that, Thursday, right?
Thursday, yep.
Thursday. this Thursday, December 18th, at the Pearl Street Warehouse at the Wharf. This is a song called W equals FD, work equals force times distance, the third song from a debut February release. It's a wistful tune that tries to weigh the impacts of action versus inaction. It's sent to us by Stephen Dawson. Very, very nice. Your Old Radio. Michael, if groups like Your Old Radio want to get their music played here, how do they do it?
Send us your music by emailing it to jingles@TonyKornheiserShow.com and get yourself ready for the game, not just practice, by checking out the Iversons performance hoodie over at JohnnyO.com.
Johnny O's. It's just great stuff.
Get geared up for the holidays.
Great stuff. They play in Pat 40. Pat is on this show more than I am. I can't express my gratitude. I can't express my gratitude enough for this, because college, he talks about college sports, and you always need an expert on college. You have to start with Michigan. It's such a mess. I mean, without going into the character of Sharon Moore or any of the things that have been reported, because, his life is over. His professional life is over. But what does Michigan do? This is, Pat, I assume that everyone is correct. I would certainly say, if I had to rate the top 10 football programs in America, Michigan is comfortably in there. It's a great, what do they do?
Oh, yeah, they're easily in the top 10, maybe top 5. It's close. First thing they do is they fire their athletic director, who I think has made some bad hires, seen some things blow up spectacularly on his watch, and probably wasn't providing adequate oversight here of Sharon Moore in this situation. So that's the immediate problem is, do you want this guy to hire the next coach? I think the answer is no. So can you make a fast move on the AD and then hire a coach? You also have an interim president. I mean, the whole thing's in flux there. So I think even if this, if you have to slow down and take 3 weeks to hire a football coach, or 4 weeks, or whatever, you're still going to end up with a good coach. You're apparently not going to end up with Alabama's coach, although there was considerable speculation that Kalen DeBoer was candidate number 1 and had some interest. But after that, you're still going to get somebody good. It's just a question, how far down the list do you have to go?
So when I was watching the day that this happened, I was amazed at how many people immediately said Kalen DeBoer. Where did that come from?
I think he's always had a bit of a fascination with the Michigan job. That's kind of been one of those that I think would have been really in his wheelhouse. He's from the Midwest. He's coached in the Midwest. And 2 years in at Alabama, it's gone pretty well, but they don't want to do pretty well at Alabama. They want to conquer the world. So I think the feeling was, is he really that happy there? Let's find out. And ultimately now it looks like he's committed to staying at Alabama, but I think there was definitely some initial interest on his part.
Let me go backwards a little bit to talk about the Michigan program. I understand they won a national championship, but Jim Harbaugh did, 3,000 things that were against the rules, and there are no rules, and he did things that were against the rules, right? Didn't this start with Harbaugh?
Sure. No, I mean, the entire program has been, they've either been winning championships or getting on probation, one or the other, sometimes both at the same time, frankly. It's been a mess off the field. I mean, just a complete mess. This is only the latest thing. There were 2 major NCAA investigations that resulted in penalties for Harbaugh and for the program. And like you said, this is a time when it's really hard to find rules to break, but they did.
Yeah.
And
give him credit. He found the only rules that were out there.
We are not going to follow them.
That's right. I heard you say earlier that they may take 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Well, what happens to their players? How do they keep their players? The portal opens January 2nd. How do they keep their players?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be significant. That is really the pressing deadline, I think, there. But again, who's going to hire the coach? So, but what you got to do is, I don't know what their NIL contracts look like, if it would be enforceable to try to keep them. It's so far schools have been pretty reluctant to try to pursue legal action against players who have broken an NIL contract and left. I think Georgia is trying to take a player to court who left for Missouri. So I don't know whether you could try to legally enforce NIL contracts, say you have to stay. But clearly the best way to keep your players, especially your quarterback, Bryce Underwood, who was the #1 recruit in the country this last year, is to have a coach on hand who can talk him into staying.
You got any names?
Jet Fish is going to be a popular name now that DeBoer is seemingly out. Fish is the coach at Washington. Only been there 2 years. He replaced Kalen DeBoer. In fact, he came from Arizona. Has done well. I would not say I look at him and say that guy's going to go win national championships necessarily. But, he's been around. He's coached with a lot of the greats. He was a Belichick coach. I think he worked for Saban as well at one point. So, I mean, he's been in some high-powered programs for sure. And he's done pretty well. But again, is that the kind of hire that everybody says, oh, well, we've got the next Jim Harbaugh? Not necessarily.
Anybody else's names bubble up?
It's interesting. Matt Campbell would have been an obvious name.
Yeah, why don't they just take him? He didn't start yet. Why don't they take him?
Is the ink dry on the contract? I don't know.
What did I say on TV? I said, you say to the driver, we're not going east anymore. We're going north. Take a left. Take a left.
The funny thing, like, the Penn State thing kind of got slow for a few minutes. And you just kind of look back and start piecing some things together. And I think word was getting out that Michigan was about to make a move in early December. And
really?
I have some reason to think that was the case. That there were rumors out there to a degree, but also people actually moving around, traveling around, talking to coaches for jobs that weren't open. And so that seemed like it might be percolating then. This has kind of been out there under the radar for a little while.
This is an unbelievable year. Kelly and Franklin and Gundy and Napier and more, and it's an unbelievable amount of people who got canned during the year, right? You never saw anything like this.
No, incredible. I mean, amazing, yes. Big-time, high-profile jobs.
Yes.
Opening up and big-time movement from one school to another. You know, we thought the Kiffin thing was wild, and it still is, but, I mean, that was supposed to kind of be the end of the cycle, and now here we are talking about who's going to get the Michigan job several weeks later.
All right, let me shift gears a little bit. Fernando Mendoza is a great story. Indiana is a great story. I'm glad he got the Heisman. Is he any good?
Yeah, he's good.
Okay.
He's very good. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, he's just had a phenomenal year, and he gave that Indiana what they need. Indiana was going to be better this year. It's just a matter of how much better, depending on the quarterback, and he's been outstanding. You know, he's incredibly accurate, great arm, unbelievable mind for the game, really just a smart guy. He's got charisma. He's a little bit kind of an endearing, almost like a nerd to a degree. But sometimes you want a nerd playing quarterback because he's going to do one thing, focus on how to be a good quarterback. And he's become one. He was the number 134 quarterback recruit in the country.
I read this.
Coming out of high school. Yeah. And nobody wanted him. He was committed to Yale at one point. And then finally got a power conference offer from Cal and went there. And if you heard his
where he actually graduated. Like he's a student. He's a smart kid, apparently.
Very smart. Very smart. I mean, he was going to go to Yale. Graduated from Cal in 3 years with a business degree. He's legit, and his acceptance speech for the Heisman just knocked it out of the park. Really impressive guy.
Is he an NFL player?
I believe so. Absolutely. Again, he's 6'5", with a strong arm and great accuracy. Throws the out patterns and the slant patterns really well.
So he's Drake May. He's Drake May.
Yeah, maybe not as athletic as Drake.
Okay, right.
But yes, I mean, I look at him and think that he's going to be the first quarterback picked and maybe the first player picked.
Is Diego Pavia an NFL quarterback?
Probably not. That's the reason why he's like 24 and still in college.
Yeah.
He's short. He's 5'9". Incredible player, has made something out of himself that nobody could have expected. Force of will, charisma. And everybody, Drew Brees did it. Well, there was one Drew Brees, okay? Maybe two if you count Kyler Murray. To be that short and make it in the NFL is difficult to do. And he certainly didn't help himself in the aftermath of the Heisman here. He's a little bit of a loose cannon off the field and, ended up having to apologize for some fairly ridiculous actions and words after not winning the Heisman. And if you're a 5'9" quarterback, you need the GMs to find all the things they love about you. Don't give them more things they don't love.
All right, I'll get you out of here on this. Notre Dame, what do they do? I don't know how they can stay in the ACC. I just don't at this point. It's just not doable. They believe that everybody hates them, and they've said this out loud, and most people probably do hate them now after they said that. Where did they go? What do they do?
Yeah, it was quite a sore loser tantrum from them last week. But yeah, the interesting thing was the very direct shots at the ACC and use of legal terminology. Irreparable damage was done. Makes you wonder if they're going to try to sue their way out of that league.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they leave the league or if they just want to set up a different deal where they don't have to, they're not contractually obligated to play as many ACC teams in football. Right now it's 5, but there's some dispute even over that, whether it's going to be 6 going forward because they're going to play Clemson every year and those games are going to count or not count, Stanford and so on and so on. But that was kind of a sign, a warning shot for sure of things are going to change in our relationship with the ACC. How exactly, I can't say for sure.
So you don't take the position I do that they are going to run right to the Big Ten, which will welcome them with open arms.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I still think, because I do think the Big Ten would draw a pretty hard line of we want you for football too.
Yeah.
And that's the question. They very much want to stay independent in football. That's the bottom line.
Money. They have their own TV contract.
Yeah,
they're not stupid.
The best place to stay independent is to do that in the ACC because they'll basically kowtow to you otherwise. I don't know whether the Big Ten would do that or whether they just say, you know what, if you're coming, you got to come as a full member.
Okay. And the Big Ten pays more money than the ACC, so they have. Big Ten pays more money than the ACC, so they have that power. They certainly have more power than the ACC. Plug your podcast for us, Pat.
Yes, sir. Others Receiving Votes with Gene Wojciechowski and Brian Fisher. Taping every Thursday as of now, so check us out this Thursday.
Thank you, Pat.
All right, my pleasure, Tony. Thank you.
Pat Forty is just wonderful. Wonderful to have him, and at some point he's going to say, I'm sick of you and I don't want to come on anymore. I hope that doesn't happen soon. We will come back with email and jingle. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show. The Tony Kornheiser Show.
Here comes Tony's mailbag. Get your emails, faxes, and your notes. Here comes Mr. Tony's mailbag on the reason for all of your folks.
The great Darius Rucker singing us in. It's great. You want to do the Bethesda Bagel ad?
Yes, Bethesda Bagels. We love them. You will as well. Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location in the D.C. area nearest you. Then pop on in. You'll be thrilled because if you go in today, you can get bagel sandwiches like we got.
Fabulous. That'll do it for us today. Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say I'll be back in the high life again. All the doors I closed one time will open up again. I'll be back in the high life again. All the eyes that watched me once will smile and take me in, and I'll drink and dance with one hand free. Let the world back into me, and oh, I'll be a sight to see back in the high life again. The great Steve Winwood. The great Steve Winwood.
Yes.
Our thanks to our guests today, Michael Wilbon and Pat Forty. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. Get the show through Apple. Please leave us a review. From Patrick Vincencio in Laurel, Maryland. Hey, old man. When your neighbor Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone, did you tell him you prefer sending telegrams? How long did it take you to adapt from the rotary phone to the push-button phone? I will hang up and listen. Shot at me. Okay. Daniel A. Williams, Shelbyville, Kentucky. Dearest Grandpa Tony, I didn't get around to the Friday show until Saturday because being a man just turned 40 means sometimes you're running behind. On Saturday morning, my mother texted me about something being wrong with Dad's phone. That evening, I called my dad and had a conversation with him about his phone update, and he let me hear all his favorite four-letter words about how terrible the update was. I promised him that when I came down for Christmas, I would fix things up. Lo and behold, I start your podcast right after getting off the phone with him, and other than the swearing, it's the exact same conversation. Michael, my heart is with you.
Yep. Enjoy the holidays.
From Ed Butt. I replayed for the woman to whom I'm related by marriage a rant about Apple updating your phone. Within seconds, she was excitedly and vociferously echoing everything you said, sprinkling her concurrence with words you would have to bleep on your podcast. Like you too, I hate when Apple volunteers to improve my device by changing the way to do things and by adding features I do not need and do not want, but I have a much bigger beef with them. I play a lot of music on my phone when riding my bike, especially off-road on my mountain bike. I'm afraid to listen to your podcast lest I become too engrossed and wrap myself around a tree. Instead, I listen to music mostly from our formative years, i.e. oldies. With them, I can sing along word for word without any conscious thought. Years ago, I laboriously loaded over 5,000 songs from my own CDs, which I had bought and paid for, into my computer, and then sorted them into playlists to suit various moods and situations. For many years, I could simply run a wire from my iPod and later my iPhone to my computer and update the music on them. Then Apple decided to make that process easier by connecting my devices to my computer automatically and without my approval to their cloud service, for which I have to pay $9.99 every month. Using a wire is no longer an option. The even bigger problem is that Tim Apple and his minions have decided that I do not have the rights to many songs which I bought and paid for, unless they are part of Apple's library. In many cases, they substitute for my original recording an inferior remake or a live concert version. The ultimate insult, however, is when they replaced my original version of Mary Wells's My Guy with her mid-70s disco version. Damn you, Apple. I hate you with the passion of a million suns. A cocktail fork to your eye would be wholly inadequate. May Mike Tyson stomp on your private part. Yes. Yes. I totally sympathize with that.
Love the card, Ed.
From Phil Mattville, Fort Mill, South Carolina. I love your rant on unwanted phone update. You give voice to all of our frustrations when we get an update, whether it's our phones, our computers, or the software we need to use every day to make a living. Every software developer should have your words burned into their skulls every time they decide to change how things are arranged or how they appear, just like one of those in-laws who think they know how to organize your kitchen better than you. I'd rather have Chuck Todd come to my house and flip my properly arranged toilet paper rolls than to have these developers get their grubby hands on the software I use. That, at least, I can spot right away and fix. Jason Poulin in Sudbury in Ontario in Canada. Listening to your disdain regarding the iPhone updates, Android users are faced with the same angst. Unwanted, unasked for, unproven, unnecessary updates, which do nothing more than satisfy the fleeting whims of a junior programmer on a summer internship. It's good. It's smart. Danielle McDavid. I do not normally listen to sports shows, but my husband just played your bit on the iPhone update because I just spent the morning spouting the same complaints as I grumbled my way around the house, trying to wish away the new liquid glass nonsense and other unwanted surprises from Apple's automatic update. I feel heard. By the way, we literally bumped into each other once, or shall I say I literally bumped into you downstairs at Nebraska Avenue many years ago when I was walking and script reading at the same time, unsuccessfully multitasking, back when I was a freelance reporter at WRC. Sorry I sent scripts flying and interrupted your stroll down the hallway. It's perfectly okay, as long as you agree with me on this app.
Yes.
From Jim Moser in Landisville, Pennsylvania. The list of things I've learned from listening to this show is immeasurably long, but the thing I learned today was probably the most shocking of all. The phone belonging to the woman to whom I'm related by marriage performed its update Tuesday night. The diatribe I heard spewing forth from her upon discovery of this update was impressive, made even more so by hearing the same sort of stuff from you on Friday's show. This leads me to the shocking thing that I've learned. Apparently, I'm married to a 77-year-old man. P.S. The woman in question still waves her small Canadian flag with you every night at the end of PTI. Please tell Jonathan Peter. So we have sort of unanimity in these things, right?
There's nobody saying you're wrong.
Zach Skolnick, Charleston, West Virginia, by way of Canastota, New York, which is near Syracuse. During my 4 years at Binghamton University, it often felt like we lacked the star power that other schools in the area like Syracuse had with their most famous alumni. Now more than a decade later, I'm a top 9% listener of one of the most famous Bearcats out there. Thank you, Mr. Tony, for all the hours of entertainment. I promise to keep listening until Flo starts our own podcast. From Mark Gorman, Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. After hearing people writing in with their Spotify rap numbers in the 8,000s, I felt compelled to write with my number, 172,202 minutes. Image attached. This had me channeling my inner Ricky Henderson when he spoke to Harold Reynolds, winner of the Stolen Base title in 1987. Well, Ricky was injured. Quote, you ought to be ashamed. Ricky would have had those numbers by the All-Star break. Al Ruggles, Lexington, Kentucky. Here are some more MRI fun facts for you to contemplate if you ever need to go into the tube again. As Jennifer, the radiologist from San Antonio, mentioned, Tesla is indeed the units of measurements for magnet strength. Tesla units are named for Nikola Tesla, as is the car, a Serbian-American electrical and mechanical engineer who, amongst other things, developed alternating current, or AC. I add parenthetically, we have 22 outlets in our kitchen. He immigrated from Europe to the United States and had laboratories in New York City, including one on Houston Street. As Jake from Utah mentioned, the copper cage lining some MRI rooms is called a Faraday cage, named after Michael Faraday, a 19th century English chemist and physicist who was pioneer of the understanding of electromagnetism and the development of electric motors. Maybe his relation to Nigel's. I'm an equine surgeon, and at our veterinary hospital, open 24/7, we have put thousands of horses through our closed MRI tube without a single complaint. That doesn't surprise me. If you read this on air, please tell Andy Russ to eat it. Ben York, Santa Barbara, California. Dear Dr. Ron, longtime listener, occasional email. I am in my 4th year of residency training in radiology at the University of Southern California. Throughout my training, I've come to realize that many, if not most, patients undergoing radiology examinations have little to no idea how each scan works. Your comments from Wednesday's show compelled me to provide you with some facts regarding MRIs. The tube is a giant electromagnet that generates a magnetic field approximately 60,000 times more powerful than the Earth's magnetic field. The magnet manipulates the hydrogen atoms in your body, mostly in fat and water, to generate a signal that becomes the image. Whichever body part is being imaged must be in the center of the magnet. This is why you were mostly outside the tube for your leg scan and fully in the tube for your back. MRI uses only magnetic fields and no external radiation, unlike X-rays and CAT scans, hence the lack of protective apron. The neuroradiologist, specialist in brain and spine imaging, who will interpret your scan, will have completed 4 years of medical school and 6 years of residency training, including instructions in the physics of all imaging modalities. Apologies for the lengthy email, but hopefully this provides information for life. And if not already taken, I'd like to be considered for the position of official radiologist in training of the show. Thanks for all of the years of laughs and insightful sports commentary. Your show has seen me through college, medical school, and now more than half of residency. That's very impressive.
That is very impressive.
All of that stuff.
That's a lot of knowledge.
From Dave Rivers in Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. So great to hear your discussion of the Army-Navy game with the incomparable James Carville. I thought, hey, I know that game. How, you say? And perhaps the ultimate David Aldridge moment. My own uncle, Bill Fuchs, covered that game in the 50s and 60s for the Washington Star. More so than today, that game was a big deal. I'm sad to say that a foreshadowing of Tony's own career, Uncle Bill flushed the mouse and left the sports page to begin writing feature articles for the magazine of the Sunday edition. Sound familiar, old man? Perhaps that's where all great sports writers go in the end. Who's to say? That's very nice. From John Chadwick of the Battle Creek, Michigan Country Club. During the past week in the email segment, I've been told to eat it by defense attorney Tim Livingston and called an acquired taste by barely employed Steve Revan. They are frequent guests of mine at the course for golf and dinner. Neither of them are golf club members, and I've never been reciprocated. Tim once asked our pro about joining our club, and the pro replied, "Why would you do that? You played here free for 20 years. Steve is left-handed. Enough said. Great email. From Wayne Mills, two things. One, coast to coast in Canada, we are big fans of the show. Two, it was great to hear you say or imply that you love your family. Was there a doubt? Was there a doubt? Mark Lynch in Canby, Indiana. I'm glad Jeff Ma brought up his son's performance at the spelling bee. I had $50 on the kid making it to the quarters. I'll never have my own gambling podcast now. From Pete in Lake Elmo in Minnesota. It goes without saying that alphabetized list of people that I know will be my NCAA bracket team name next year. Thanks as always for the entertainment. From Dave N in Glencoe, Illinois. Tony, quote, alphabetized listing of people's numbers. Michael, yeah, contacts. That's it. That's the email. Love this show. And from Josh Stober in Elgin, Illinois. Hi, Ron. Can you please let Tim Kirkchin know that Yellow Card will be touring this spring and summer with the plain white tees and newfound book? If you're out on your bike tonight, everyone, as always, do wear white.
Let's try this. Your line. Just say it as I say it. Say your line exactly as I'm about to.
Okay, sure.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Hey, it's Tony. On today's show, we will talk to Jason LaCanfora about what we learned from Seattle's comeback win against the Rams and also about the officiating in that game, the two-point conversion. We'll also talk to James Carvin. Hi, it's Tony. On today's show, we'll get football picks from Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey. We'll also catch up with David Remnick, my longtime friend. He's the editor of The New Yorker, about the Netflix documentary celebrating the 100th anniversary of The New Yorker. But first, commerce.
This episode is brought to you by Alma. There's no
ball. Timing is you never miss your shot.
No offense, Tim. But I called Michael. I wanted to get it, but I didn't want to get bitten by the mouse. And the mouse was all the way in the back under the sink. It was not going to be easy. I just told Michael this. I didn't expect what then happened.
Well, I come to the front door.
Yes, with tongs.
Tongs. I got the grilling tongs.
Got tongs.
This is General George Washington, and you're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
All right, so we have a lot of small things to deal with before we get to the guests today. First is to thank Greg Garcia. Greg Garcia sent us each, Michael and Nigel and I sent us caramels. Yes. And they're lovely. They're just so good. Yeah. And we sent a bunch of them, so thank you to Greg. I appreciate that.
Can I give a plug for Greg?
Sure.
Because he's coming back with Nate Bargatze to Washington at is it the Capital One Arena? Is that what we call it now?
Who knows?
Whatever that is, the old Verizon setup.
The MCI Center.
It's the MCI Center.
It's the place downtown that's always named after some phone company.
Right. It's right like April 2nd and April 3rd. So circle those dates and make sure they.
I'm going to go.
Yeah. You're going to go?
Well, I'm going to go at the beginning. I'm not going to
see Greg open?
Yeah, and then I'm going to leave. I mean, I
got a field trip?
How late can I stay up? I mean, I don't stay up. The NBA Cup, which is foolishness, was finished last night, thank God. It was on Prime TV. I have Prime TV. I watched some of it. I watched the first half, and then I said, this is enough for me. I really actually don't care. The Knicks won. They haven't won anything in 52 years. They haven't won anything. That includes no cup, no shop credit, no glassware. They haven't won anything, and they won. So I'm happy for the Knicks. And today on the ESPN website, there's a picture of some action, and the caption writes, the Knicks win their first NBA Cup. Like what? Like it's been there's 3 NBA Cups out there.
You have to start somewhere.
Stop. Their first NBA Cup. Like, don't make this into the Final Four. It's not. The winner will be forgotten. Today's Wednesday, by Friday. And it's an attempt to get money from foreign developers who want the names attached to the NBA. It's an attempt to get money and an attempt to get worldwide stature. I mean, what is the NBA chasing? It's different than the NFL. Because basketball's played everywhere. Football's not played everywhere. The NFL is chasing small markets. I mean, big markets, but small markets, not global dominance. Yeah. And the NBA is chasing soccer, which has global dominance. There's global dominance everywhere but here. Everywhere but here.
And what has happened to the last 2 Cup winners?
They've lost in the first round of the playoffs, so it's not great. So anyway, I mean, I don't want to. I want to thank again, I don't know if I mentioned this. I did talk about Sean Reese coming here and
the roast beef.
That's did I mention how great the roast beef was?
You said it was very good.
The Beekman's roast beef, sliced thin, rare. It's a deli in Lynbrook, Long Island, that has been around at least 80 years, maybe more than that. Roast beef was their signature dish, just fabulous. You had some.
I did, yeah. It was great. He had it for lunch.
Just great. I'm very grateful for that.
Did Jesse get any?
Small little bites. Small little bites. I need to talk about the cold. It is not nearly as cold this morning as it was on Sunday morning, Monday morning, Tuesday morning. It's not as cold. But there's a lesson here. I mean, it was 27, I think, when I took the dog out this morning, which is cold, but it's not windy. It's not unpleasant. I bought, have I talked about this? I've talked about the winter coat that I bought, not an overcoat, but a sort of casual coat to keep you warm in the winter by Patagonia.
Okay.
Patagonia is, Michael, what, a hipster brand at the moment? It's been around for 100 years, hasn't it?
Mostly you'd recognize it for a very distinctive logo that you'd see on fleeces, recycled fleeces often through the 90s, 2000s.
Okay, so I don't have that.
Used to have a store in Georgetown, didn't they?
Did, yes, right by the canal.
Yeah. I don't think it's as pricey as Canada Goose.
Not as pricey as Canada Goose. I'm sure they have some offerings that are close to it, but it would always be on par with like a North Face.
Yeah.
Fleece.
How much is a Canada Goose jacket? Like $1,000?
There are a lot of them. Willem's got 3.
Of course.
He has 3.
For the patch.
Yeah, he's got 3. So I got this thing, and it's fine. It's a sort of a gray-blue color. It's fine. You know, I've worn it with the dog in the 30s, right, in the 30 area temperatures, but it wasn't.
How long is it?
Comes down mid-thigh.
Okay.
It wasn't adequate in the really, really cold weather. I mean, I knew that, and I had sweaters on underneath. I knew that it wasn't going to make it. So I went back to old, reliable Lilyhammer jacket.
Still works.
Which I've had for over 30 years. Now, it's hideous. I know it's hideous, but it works. I had it for Norway.
Describe the color.
The color is
right?
It's a sickening green, a dark, sickening green, right? Is that fair?
I'd say spicy mustard mixed in.
It's not as old as I am, but we've had it. I've used it for over 30. I use it 10, 12, 20 days a year.
I like that it comes out once. For us, it comes out once every 5 to 10 years where you say, it's cold enough, you need to wear this. And then you go to the pocket and you find tissues.
And things for the dog when the dog poops, and biscuits and
breadcrumbs.
And things from Norway in some of the pockets. From some of the pockets. Yeah, I mean, souvenirs and stuff like that. It still works. It's still what do you want from a coat in the winter? You want it to keep you warm.
Yes.
It's great. Now, I wore it today. I didn't need it today, but I needed it yesterday. I needed it the day before. And I bought this.
Oklahoma just scored a touchdown. They're up 6-0 on Alabama.
If the ability to keep
5:29 left in the first quarter.
Fades, it hasn't faded with this jacket. I don't know.
I would think
I don't know.
I think it depends on the material. Like if it was a down jacket and something happens to the filling, that it might not keep you as warm.
I don't know if it's a down jacket. I don't know what it is. I know I bought it at Eddie Bauer over 30 years ago. And the other thing I bought at Eddie Bauer last year, the lined pants, which I am wearing now, these are the 2 greatest pieces of clothing. They're not attractive. These are the 2 greatest pieces of clothing I've ever bought. I own. They're great.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that.
The Lilyhammer jacket to me is like a great left-handed reliever.
Yes.
You're like 85 years old. Give me the lefty.
You have to be at the right spot in the order.
Right. Still get you 2 outs. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to abuse it. You don't want to wear it when it's 36 degrees. No. You can put on Patagonia at 30. You go Patagonia down to 26. Yeah. But when at 6,
that's when you got to bring him in.
Yeah, the manager comes out, goes to the bullpen, and brings in that particular jacket, the Lilyhammer jacket. It's just fabulous.
Yeah. But with this cold start to December, we've just jumped right into middle of the winter weather.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be this cold, but it's not going to be.
Right.
It's going to be like 50 today, though,
but
right?
we lost the last 2 weeks where we'd be on average at 50, 51 as a high.
Did I mention?
We're barely going to get that today and tomorrow.
I played golf last Saturday. Steve Rose and I went out. We were the first ones out. We played in 3 hours and 5 minutes, which nothing beats that. It's wonderful. It was about 40 degrees at its height, 40 degrees, but there was no wind, so it's okay.
That's the key.
It's okay. Wind at 45 kills you. No wind
this
at
time
35.
of year when you jump out on a golf course, you feel the hills when you go in and out of these little hollows where all of a sudden the temperature drops or there's a different level of humidity.
Well, this is 2 things I should say. One is every tee box was frozen.
Yeah.
Frozen. So
hit it off the deck.
I had to, Steve Rose taught me to do this. Take out the tee marker and in the hole that is used, insert a tee. It's going to be a little bit lower than you want, a little more wobbly than you want, but you're going to get a certain amount of elevation. That was one. Number 2, all the greens were frozen. So if I actually occasionally hit a pretty good approach shot, it's off. It goes to the back and I didn't hold the green on any shot. I had some that I thought, wow, that was pretty good. I was over on everything, which allowed me to practice that the sand wedge, shot where you pop it up in the air. I'm terrible at it.
Banging it across the green?
Yeah, it went the other way.
Got to play the short, huh?
That's, So I want to get to one other thing. In my life, I don't think I'm a hoarder, but some might think I'm a hoarder. I don't think I am. But I have collections of things. And one of the collections that I started doing when I was in my teens, 20s, it's a long, long time ago, was collecting matchbooks from places I ate at or visited. Matchbooks. I have 2 large urns with, I would say, 400 matchbooks, maybe more. And I needed to light something last night, so went and picked up, something from Arts in Las Vegas, ART''S. I'm sure the finest dining in that building. I don't even know. I mean, I don't remember Arts. It's just Arts, Las Vegas. Been to Las Vegas a lot as a kid. Nobody smokes anymore. Very few people. Matchbooks, they're not in restaurants anymore. You walk into the Palm, you used to be able to get
It was a great little keepsake.
What do you get now? How do you remember? I don't remember Arts, but I'm sure there are a lot of places in there that I would look at and know the city, if not the restaurant, that, have some sense of it. This is the travelogue of my life, these matchbooks. And they are not, I just realized last night, I haven't realized this before, you don't get these anymore. No. Do restaurants give anything out of a keepsake nature that
I
one
think you
can
could
collect?
get like a cocktail napkin and you could hold on to those. But when you think about the matchbook, part of that would be then you would display it at your house either in your urn or if you were the type of person who do this, you'd put it out on a table just so you could show off a little bit of, I've been to this restaurant in New York. I've been here in Chicago.
I wish I'd learned to do that. I never did that. I have them all in urns, big glass urns. Yeah. And and then when
some people turn these into
you're just going to throw them out, right?
You know what? I probably will, but it's also something that I remember from my childhood because do you remember when Maggie used to get into the matchbooks?
Yes,
you actually had to put saran wrap over the cover of the urn.
She would destroy the matchbooks. She would destroy them. She'd open the ones that could be opened and the individual matches fell out.
That was her.
She did that, or she just ripped up the others. Yeah. Very annoying. And we had to put saran wrap on the top of it. Yeah. But these are, again, this is the travelogue of my life.
Yes. And
I never thought about it until last night.
It's from a bygone era.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I think this is very similar to, holding on to golf scorecards where you can just sort of, keep a map of your travels.
But they're still making golf scorecards.
Yes, but not as many people use them. And that is the keepsake, the same way that you might get tees from a certain golf course or the push in ball markers.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this just in terms of concert tickets that you would hold on to.
I used to. They don't have
the paper stuff.
Yeah, because a QR code really isn't something that you can, use for nostalgia.
Print out Live Nation.
And I don't think that I'm alone in this. I really don't. I think there's millions of people who have these keepsakes, take them for granted until they don't exist anymore. And they don't.
So for you, you could actually it might be a fun activity for you to go through these matchbooks and maybe pick out 10, 20, 50 that represent different pockets of your life. And we could turn those into a shadow box, or you could get those commissioned into just a nice piece of art where they get...
Really?
Yeah.
I could
take it with a frame bridge.
I mean, what have I got? There's 2 different styles. Again, there's the one that opens and the matches are inside.
And then there's the
box.
Yeah.
Which is different. So you'd have to compress it, press it down. You'd have to do so. Yeah, I could probably get those framed. I could get a collage. There are places there that I don't know if they exist anymore. Well, there's like the original Joe Stone Crab in Miami. Like everybody knows that. I'm sure I've got that.
But places in New Orleans, all the great restaurants
New Orleans, hotels, golf courses even. I collected matchbooks. I did.
Yeah, because you're not a smoker.
No.
Never been a smoker, right?
Well, I was a long time ago, but
But people who aren't smokers, back in the day, that's what you did. You just grabbed some matches. It was a keepsake.
Again, they're in these urns. I've never seen anybody else do that. I guess other people do it as well.
Probably not to the level that you have, but yes, people hold on to these.
Hundreds and hundreds. All right, okay. We'll take a break. Chuck Todd. When we return, I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
You know how there's always that one person in the family who somehow wins Christmas every year? The one whose gifts make everyone else's love kind of basic. Yeah, this year, make sure that person is you, because Aura frames are basically the cheat code for winning the holidays. I have an Aura frame. I really love it.
We update it for you.
Yeah, it's so easy to set up. Well, it was easy for Michael to set it up for me. But all you have to do is download the Aura app.
It's got the official family photos.
Yes, it's great. And start adding unlimited photos.
All
and
5
short videos straight from your phone, if you know how to do that. You can even preload it before it ships, so when your family opens it, the memories are already there. And you can keep adding more anytime from anywhere, which Michael does for me. Every frame comes in a premium gift box, no wrapping required, and it's so personal. It actually feels meaningful. Honestly, it's one of those rare gifts that make people tear up and use it every day. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code TonyK at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code TonyK. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so order now before it ends. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
You know how there's always that one person in the family who somehow wins Christmas every year? The one whose gifts make everyone else's love kind of basic. Yeah, this year,
playing
make
this
sure
back
that
to back.
person is you, because every frame comes in a premium gift box.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Have I got a story for you? Now I was only 5 years old, excited and awake. On the night before Christmas, my most favorite of all days. Lo, I heard a noise downstairs, so I crept out to catch a glimpse. And there I found my mother dear, with Santa, locking lips. Oh, he said to me, go back to sleep, this is just a dream. No, said I to keep. Remove your hands from my mother, please. And he said, look, son, it's me. Oh, I think my dad is Santa Claus.
This is Tim Wildsmith, our friend, Nashville, Tennessee. One of the highlights of my holiday season he writes the past couple of years has been the messages I've received from fellow littles telling me how much they love this song, and hearing you, Michael, and Nigel laugh along, of course. Is Bootsy old enough to listen to this one yet? Thanks for another great year. The show means the world to me. Happy holidays, everyone, from Tim Wildsmith. Playing in Chuck Todd. Chuck reaches Mount 500 and then slips back. Wins last night, wins Pittsburgh last night, puts him to 3-4, 52-53, on the course of the year now. Do you feel terrible about this, or does it give you greater resolve?
I thought it was worse than 3-4, so I'm just sort of, how you just sort of like, oh, my record was 3-4, okay.
Yeah, 3-4.
I thought it was 2-5.
Unless I got it wrong, you were 3-4.
No, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, that song just reminds me, can you imagine we were teaching little kids about mommy kissing Santa Claus?
Yeah.
We just sort of let it go. I mean, by the way, Santa makes the round.
Yes.
God only knows what kind of STDs Santa could be traveling around the country. That whole thing is just sort of one of the weirder things we celebrate. The innocence of youth.
All right. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. So I'm going to give you some games. This line is flipped. It is going from minus to plus to minus. It's the Los Angeles Rams, who looked so good, beating Detroit at Los Angeles on Sunday. They have the Thursday night game. They travel for the Thursday night game to Seattle, a very good team. Seattle
wins by 1 in overtime.
But Seattle has a very good record. Now, for reasons unknown to me, the Rams are a road favorite, giving 1.5 in Seattle Thursday night. Who you got?
It seems like whoever is crowned the NFC's best lays an egg the following week, right?
Yep.
We had it with the Packers. We had it with the Eagles. Now it's the Rams' turn, and so, I mean, this is definitely a buy low spot with Seattle. Give me Seattle at home. At home.
Seattle at home.
Got that one right.
You know,
getting points on a Thursday.
Yeah. It seems like a good bet.
Okay.
I mean, right? I would assume that's where you'd be, right?
I would be, because I know how loud it is there, and I also know that it can be cold, and the Rams, no, I don't like them in this spot.
They're not great outdoors. I mean, that's sort of my only question mark about them is how many outdoor games are they going to play in the playoffs, right? That'll be the key to whether they get there.
If they lose this game, they're probably out as the number 1 seed for this week. But, there's going to be 2 more weeks after this.
And then it's the Bears, right? The Bears might be
that's right. Philadelphia is at Washington. Everybody got this wrong last week. The Washington team had a resurgence.
What was that?
Yeah, this is a Saturday game. Philadelphia on the road is a 6.5-point favorite. Philadelphia looked very good, but I hasten to point out they beat the Raiders. The Raiders stink. So who you got in this one?
So I want to be on the Eagles side, but isn't this the game the Commanders win when they're bad? Like a couple years ago, the Eagles were really good, and yet they lost this game to the Commanders. Do you remember that?
I don't.
I think it was almost in this same scenario.
Okay.
I just, this a divisional game, familiarity. I don't know. Give me the points. Give me the Commanders and the points.
I think I'd go the other way on this one, but I would have gone the other way on Sunday, so I would have been wrong. Green Bay is at Chicago. Wilbon will be there, so all is right in the city of big shoulders. Green Bay is a 1.5-point favorite. They beat Chicago in Green Bay, I don't know, on a last-second throw or so. I mean, it just wasn't much.
It was an interception.
Like one much.
Caleb,
I mean, Chicago could have won that game. They could have won it at Lambeau. Green Bay minus 1.5, third straight road favorite.
Boy, I don't know why the Packers are still a favorite here. Without Micah Parsons.
That's right.
With the injuries on their offensive line.
No tight end.
Right, with their number 2 tight end. By the way, these injuries have really started to accumulate for them. It's a reminder that's part of the road to the Super Bowl is who survives.
That's right.
More than anything else. I have to take the Bears here. Okay. I can't believe they're underdog at home. I got to take the home dog here.
Okay. One more home dog. Carolina. Tampa Bay at Carolina. Tampa Bay minus 3. I have to say, I don't really understand. Tampa Bay has done nothing but lose the last 6 weeks. They lose, what are they, 1-5 or something like that? They're not what they were. They're not who they
10-0 Oklahoma over Alabama.
That was a bad loss, and I don't think Carolina's any good, but I don't think I'm surprised Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, and it's on the road. It's in Carolina.
Yes.
They're not bad at home. Carolina's been okay at home, and they sort of feel like they do this out every other week. So they lose to New Orleans last week. Give me, is this going to be a losing record that wins this division?
I think not. I think it'll be a 9-8. I think
it'll be a 9-8.
That's what I think.
And they'll host a playoff game against either Green Bay or San Francisco,
and they'll lose. And they will lose.
Yeah, that they'll definitely lose. Give me Carolina in this. Give me the home dog again. That's three of the home dogs, right?
It's four.
I think 4.
Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Carolina. It's 4.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Here's a home favorite, Denver. Jacksonville at Denver, a game I didn't think would be much 6 weeks ago, and now looks like a much bigger deal.
So it's a 1 seed, right?
It could be.
Jacksonville could get the 1 seed.
It could be. Well, Denver, if they beat Denver. I don't know what the weather is like in Denver, but Jacksonville is a warm weather team. If it's cold, who knows how that affects them. Jacksonville is one of the 2 or 3 biggest surprising teams of the year this year, and Liam Cohn must know what he's doing. Jacksonville +3 at Denver.
Yeah, I'm betting against the altitude. That's the bigger problem for Jacksonville. Will be the altitude. So give me Denver.
You want to take Denver? Okay. Mm-hmm. New England is at.
You believe in Bo Nix now? You believe in Bo Nix?
No, I don't believe it. I mean, I think that's a good team. I think Sean Payton knows what he's doing. I think Bo Nix is fine, but I don't think Bo Nix is as good as Drake May. I don't.
Why is Sean Payton succeeding and Pete Carroll is not?
I imagine there's better talent, and Pete Carroll's in his first year, and Sean Payton's in his second year, and had a year to look around, or maybe 2 years, maybe it's his third year.
So you think Pete Carroll gets another year?
If he wants it. If he wants it, he may not want it. I think he will, yeah. We'll see.
Okay.
New England is at Baltimore. A few weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought this was a meaningful game. It is a meaningful game. If Baltimore wants to make the playoffs, they have to win this game. They have to sweep. They have to sweep New England, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. I don't like those chances. New England's coming off a loss, first time in, 2.5 months. They've won 10 in a row. New England at Baltimore. New England getting 3.
I feel like during the Brady era, Baltimore was one of those teams that had New England's number, didn't they? Didn't it feel like that they, Baltimore seemed to, when they got to New England, knew how to beat a Belichick team? I don't know what to make of the Ravens. I was surprised by how easy they won last week.
They shut out Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
They shut him out.
Yeah, and is that a Joe Burrow problem, or was that the Ravens defense suddenly from 2,000 returns? Right?
Well, that would be unusual since you hadn't seen it all year. You hadn't. So I don't know. I don't know.
And Lamar still doesn't look like he's 100%.
Nope.
Give me the Patriots.
Patriots +3, first road team you pick. San Francisco is at Indianapolis on Monday night. Indianapolis is going to throw that guy out there again. Maybe he'll get carted off this time. It was remarkable, amazing that he played so well, but San Francisco's going to have a week to prepare specifically for him. San Francisco is a 6-point favorite on the road against a team with a winning record.
Can I just say, watching Phillip Rivers play, I've never felt more seen as a middle-aged man than seeing his gut in that jersey.
Yeah.
When, I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad to know that you can see his gut in a jersey, too. It's just the way you would see my gut whenever I think I'm wearing a jersey with a number on it. I think the sports movie's over. I think give me San Francisco.
It's a good phrase, the sports movie. I feel the same way you do, that this is it.
It was nice. I think it was really excellent of Seattle to play a really poor game to make us interested.
Yeah. They should have lost.
A little drama.
Should have lost.
It probably means he did get Netflix to buy the rights, right?
I would think so.
We see this, right? We'll call it, it's not the rookie, we'll call this the veteran, right?
Something like that. It's being written right now. A story like this is being written right now. 44-year-old grandfather playing in the league. Okay, I'm going to give you the 4 college games. You can pick and choose any one or none or whatever you want.
Okay.
I'll just read them out loud first. Alabama is at Oklahoma, and for reasons that I don't understand, Alabama is a 1.5-point favorite. Mm-hmm. Miami is a 3.5-point underdog at Texas A&M. Texas A&M was unbeaten until Texas beat them in the final game of the season. Tulane is getting 17.5 at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin won't be there. Somebody else will be there. It's 17.5. And James Madison, welcome to the college football playoffs, +21 at Oregon. +21. That's a lot. That's a lot. You like any of them?
So the 2 games that I'll let you count against my record.
Okay.
Is I will take Oklahoma in the points.
Yes.
And Miami in that hook.
Okay.
And I will just say, I know I'm going to be a homer on Miami.
Yeah.
But Miami is always a really good underdog in big games. They're terrible front runners. They're terrible favorites. But when they're underdog role, that's usually a pretty good sign. So that's my excuse there. Something's amiss. Do you remember last year, the Ohio State-Tennessee first-round game? Had Ryan Day lost that game, he was going to get fired, right?
Probably. Yeah.
If Kalen DeBoer loses this game,
I think he could get fired too.
I think he could
down 10-0.
be interested in the Michigan.
So when Kalen DeBoer, when you see him standing up at a lectern and saying, I'm here. This is where I'm going to be. I'm here. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know. I mean, those fans are who they are. And if you lose this one, I'm not sure they won't send you as soon as they can big M's in the mail and just say, go, get out of here. Get out of here.
I was getting my hair cut today, and he had the one of the chat shows, ESPN chat shows on, and Feinbaum was on.
Yeah.
And Feinbaum made a really important point about that Kalen DeBoer answer. He goes, you know, if you're staying in Alabama, that's a pretty simple sentence to say, and then you just sort of move on. He goes, it seemed to take him about 20 minutes to let you know he was kind of sort of okay and definitely going to be here. And like, he was being so weird about it that it made you think, is there something we don't know?
Is it possible? Yeah, this is what we would ask ourselves. Is it possible that there have been communications through, you know, that Michigan has talked to Kalen DeBoer or his people, and that, you know, he's saying, just give me a week or so. Let me see what happens here. Let me see what happens with Oklahoma.
By the way, it's not lost on me. If you look at his resume, it's Midwest.
Total.
It's Northern
Dakotas.
Yeah. He's not a Southerner.
No.
I have no doubt that
they'd be happy if he left.
They'd be happy. And my guess is he and his family would be happy living in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, then what happens, of course, is Lane Kiffin calls up LSU and the governor and says, yeah, I'm going the other way. I'm going Alabama.
I will say this. I don't want to give all those points, take all the points in James Madison or anything like that. Or that guy, man, in Oregon, if they won by 40, it would be shocking. They could put an ugly number. They're more likely to run it up. I don't know what to make of Ole Miss. I don't. That's what scares me about betting on that game.
I'd be incredibly surprised. I'd be incredibly surprised if they didn't come.
I assume they win, but
it
wouldn't surprise me if it was a one-score game for longer than was comfortable.
It would surprise me if they didn't win by a lot, but we'll see. All right. Good luck.
All right, buddy.
Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
See you, bud. Bye.
Chuck Todd. And if we just gave you Chuck Todd, that's more than enough. But we do so much more than that. We give you a monkey.
See the monkey, he's scratching, watching his iPad, smoking and laughing, hanging with Bud Brand, tapping on his purple attache.
Sing along, everybody.
To the zoo. Reginald's got the spy too. Sometimes he throws boo. When he's had too much Johnny Walker Blue.
He had a bad week. He had a good week. He was 2-1 after being 1-2 for like 8 weeks in a row. Now he's 0-3 last week. He's 16-29. It's bad times for the monkey.
It's bad times for the monkey. I went down to the National Zoo to meet with him, and he was involved in a very serious meeting. As we just talked about, it's not been a good year for him.
No.
Betting, he's well under 500, has taken a huge hit financially. I didn't realize how serious this was.
He's betting his own games.
Yeah, he's betting on his own games. This is his own money. Yes. It's pretty serious.
Say to him, what are you, a monkey?
Exactly. Yeah. So the folks that Reginald was talking to are going to be his new financial backers.
Who are they?
Well, as part of this deal, it means he's going to have a sponsorship for his appearance with us on the show. So if it's okay, I'd just like to read this for him right now.
Absolutely.
Reginald is proud to be sponsored by the good folks of Ginko Olive Oil. It's the best olive oil you'll ever try. Reginald isn't the only celebrity to endorse this. Famed singer Johnny Fontaine is a huge fan of this product as well. Ginko Olive Oil, from the heart of Sicily to your kitchen table. Buy it or else.
That's wonderful.
So
it's wonderful.
Hopefully it gives him some stability financially. Now, the first match we gave him was Philadelphia giving 6.5 at the Washington football team.
Saturday game
on Netflix. I know you'll be watching.
He
pulled out
that or Emily in Paris for you.
He pulled out a photograph of him traveling down the Nile on a barge to see the land of the Pharaohs, joined by Greg Lazinski, Eric Lindros, and Kyle Schwarber. He's going Philly and laid the 6.5 for that.
Okay, what else?
Next match we gave him was Green Bay giving 1.5 at the Bears. I believe that's also a Saturday match, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes. This was a very old photograph he showed me from a newspaper of him competing in a jitterbug contest. Greg and Jerry Kramer. Not sure who actually won the competition.
That's such a big men to do the jitterbug.
Well, apparently they loved it.
When they toss their partner, they toss their partner. Like, whoa, they're out the door.
So they'll take Green Bay and lay the 1.5. And the final match you gave him was the Ravens at home giving 3 to the Patriots. And Reginald just pointed to a banner that hangs, I had not seen this in his flat, a banner that hangs on his wall that says, crab cakes and football, that's what Maryland does. Of course, the famous line from Wedding Crashers. Didn't know if you knew that Reginald was a producer for that movie.
I did not.
He lives that philosophy. So, Maryland football, Baltimore, he will take the Ravens.
That's great. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey have been brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. We'll come back with the editor of the New Yorker, sports writer, former sports writer at the Washington Post, and a dear friend over a long period of time, David Remnick, to talk about the documentary on the 100th year, right? The 100 years of the New Yorker, which Michael saw and I saw.
Maybe he'll bring out the guitar.
Oh, yeah, he's apparently now playing. Yeah. I mean, he's going to take Keith Richards' place at some point. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks, you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack.
The song from time to time makes me happy because my realtor more reasons to text me, which also makes me happy. Back during COVID, I was stuck at home like everyone else, unable to work the weddings and events that usually fill my calendar. I have a small recording studio at home. I've always loved Christmas music, so I decided to keep myself busy recording an album and called it the COVID Christmas. If listeners want to hear more of the record or add it to their holiday rotation, streaming for free on Spotify and available on Apple Music. This is a song by John Ross called Send Us a Savior. Michael, if people like John Ross want to send in their original music to get it played on this high-quality podcast, how do they do it?
Send us your music by emailing it to jingles@TonyKornheiserShow.com.
Plays in my longtime friend, whose talent I admire much better than I. Now the editor of the New Yorker, David Remnick, who's identified, much to my great delight, identified at one point in that documentary as David Remnick, sports writer. It just makes me so happy. And my son is here, who actually reads the New Yorker and will interrupt me at certain times.
Parts of the New Yorker.
Yeah, not the fiction, of course. Apparently nobody reads the fiction. Let's get to the important thing here, which is you had to agree to do this. You are a smart guy. You know it's fraught with peril. How did they sell you on doing it?
It was with real peril because, you know, Tony, we both, for many, many years, have been on the other side of the pencil. And you know the tricks.
Yes.
And the first time this guy, Marshall Curry, who's a very smart documentary filmmaker, who did a fantastic thing on Newark politics called Street Fight, a documentary I love. He's sitting across from me, and he's doing that move where he asks you a question, and I answered it. And then I stopped answering because my answer was finished. But he did that move where he just went silent. Because what ordinary citizens do, because we're needy people and we want to please the person across from us, is you keep talking.
Yes, you do. Yes.
And that's when you get in trouble because you're trying to please your interlocutor. And
touchdown, Oklahoma. They're kicking Alabama's ass so far.
I do this too. You know, my favorite New Yorker writer of all time was A.J. Liebling, who wrote about boxing and World War II and so on.
17-0.
Began an interview with
10:51 to go in the first half still.
Analysts begin sessions. They don't say a word. And they wait for the other person to fill the silence. So, but I was wary of it. You're right, because they're around so damn much. We just let them in the office for day after day after day.
Yeah. How many days? How many weeks? How many months? How long were they in there filming?
Well, you can see the change in the seasons during the thing. They were there on and off for many months.
So
that's when you get the good stuff.
Yeah. At what? Yeah. Well, this is. Bob Woodward always outlasts everyone. Bob just sits there, and people eventually just tell him everything that they have. At what point, if ever, did you become oblivious of the cameras?
I think you'd be a fool to be oblivious. I mean, you go into a meeting when you're mic'd up, and you'd be a fool. You're not paying it. And did you see that Vanity Fair piece about Susie Wiles, the chief of staff?
Yes, I just read about that yesterday. Yes. Do you know that she's Pat Summerall's daughter?
Yeah.
Is that amazing?
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Isn't that great? And that's, by the way, that's part of why Trump appointed her, because that's his era, right? He's watching Mad Men.
Summerall and Madden. If Summerall and Madden were still alive, they'd be the Secretary of Defense and Commerce. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Of course.
And by the way, the country might be better off.
Yeah. So you never become oblivious of the camera. Did you see daily rushes, if they have such things?
No, it's his movie. It's his film.
Oh, so you didn't have a deal? You didn't have last rights?
That'd be like your profile subject getting to see your notes every week.
But you could have asked. You could have said, I'll do this, but I want to have refusal.
But then it's
then it's a ridiculous project. Then it's my movie, not his.
Okay, so then let's get to the questions that everybody wants to know, and by everyone I mean me. I mean me.
Yeah.
Did you dress special for it? Did you consult anyone?
Not.
The vanity. What are the vanity issues that you had?
Well, I looked at the movie and I thought, God, you are so much older, schluffier than I even imagined.
We all
posture.
That's why I never watched PTI. Never.
Oh
never.
My God, you look like a stegosaurus on, on some sort of barbiturate or something like that.
Right.
But there you go. There's no escaping. And at a certain age, who cares?
So, but I will bet, I would bet that there was a point where you said, I'm going to be on today. What should I wear? What should I wear? No?
Yeah, I just know. Well, of course you think about it, but you should see my closet, Tony. I work at Condé Nast, but you'd never know.
So it's not.
Never know.
It's not a Wilbon closet.
One time in my life, and I've been working with Anna Wintour for many years. You know, in the same building, we're friendly, and I know her pretty well. She once, I had to come. I forget why I had to wear a suit, but this is an occasion as rare as Halloween comes once a year, and that's when I wear a suit. And she looked me up and down like a drill sergeant, and an imperceptible nod of approval. That was the highest compliment I've ever gotten about what I want. I wear jeans and a sweater to work every day. I think also the pandemic changed everything in the office. It just made it some of the old. Well, first of all, going in 5 days a week, unless you're at Goldman Sachs, who does that? And in fact, you ever move from your house? Is it?
Well, I mean, I go to the studio. I now go to the studio 2 or 3 times a week. But I mean,
I didn't have a fake studio like half the people on TV do.
I have a studio at home, sure.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can do that. It's just a camera. I mean, you decide what you want in the background, or the company tells you what they want in the background. In my case, I just change things all the time because I know that people take screenshots of it and want to know, well, who made that painting?
They're obsessed with this. They're obsessed with this.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But I mean, there is. Look, they're making a movie. It's not a home movie, and it's going to be on. And you're going to be in it. And in fact, you are the only full person in it. You are the only person who is not just being photographed doing their work. I mean, you're, as Jeannie said, you're the star of it, right? You're the star of it.
Well, only because you and Jeannie know me. I mean, there are people in there. They're glimpsed. You're right.
Yeah.
You go from person. John Lee Anderson is working he's showing up in Damascus and Syria. And
yeah. And Roz Chast is sitting down, and I'm thinking to myself, this woman is brilliant, but I don't think we could have a conversation.
No, you could, but it would not be like any other conversation you've ever had.
Yeah. So the personal things, the guitar, which I didn't know, the bicycle, the Peloton. Was there any reluctance? Did anybody in the house say to you, oh, no, don't do this? Or, oh, yes.
My wife.
Yes.
My wife asked her, and she said, you can do what you want, but you could be in the kitchen and you can be in the office, and that's it, and I'm not in this thing. Oh. That's fine.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
And the guitar, this thing called Trackstar? Online, Tony, where they put headphones on you and they make you guess the name of the performer or the song.
No, I don't know.
So I just was on this thing, and I think they obviously feed you the music that you would know better, which is for me a kind of boomer rock,
right,
era stuff. But I know that stuff really well, and I'm obsessed with it. And my favorite escape from work is the guitar lesson I take on Sunday afternoons with this incredibly lovely guy. Now it's online more often than live. And it's just a total escape. And instead of, you're sitting at the computer hour after hour, and instead of smoking cigarettes or what other people do to take a break, I just pick up the guitar, and some Danish kid on YouTube teaches me how to play one song or another properly, or some odd, a Japanese guy.
Are you any good? Are you good at it?
I'm better than you.
Well, yeah, I'm totally incompetent and a boob. I tried when I was in my 30s. I brought somebody in to help teach me piano who said to me,
how'd you do?
"You're tone deaf, stop. You know, it's never going to work." So, you know.
I would say I'm good enough to enjoy it, but not to torture anybody else with having to listen to me.
Right.
And for a while, I was in a band called the Sequoias.
Really?
You know, in my 50s and into my 60s. Yeah, we weren't, you know, anything approaching good, but it was fun. You know, get on the subway and take a guitar to Brooklyn to some rehearsal place, muddle through some Stones song, and it was abysmal, but it was fantastically fun.
Do you know,
I don't do that enough in my life. I just work all the time.
Mitch Albom does that all the time. Mitch Albom plays in a band called the Rock Bottom Remainders with Dave Barry.
Are they still around?
Yeah, they play every once in a while. Dave Barry, who said to me once, as he said to 10,000 other people, "Why do you play Glory?" And he says, "Because you can take a guitar, throw it on the ground, and it will give you the first 3 chords of Gloria."
It's only 3 chords. And they're the same 3 chords over and over and over again.
Right, so it works.
But you know what Lou Reed once said? Lou Reed said, rock and roll is 2 or 3 chords, and if you have a 4th chord, it's jazz.
Yeah. Late great Lou Reed.
By the way, the Christmas music that you were just playing is great.
Yeah.
But the Christmas music you gotta know. You gotta play the Dylan Christmas album. What are you missing here?
We're not allowed. I mean, we'd have to pay millions of dollars. We are allowed to pay.
Really?
Yes, we are allowed to pay independent artists who want their music on, and then we can do that. We don't have to pay them.
Right.
But we have to. If you take known, commodities, and you play them, just like I would play. Yeah, I play Van Morrison every single day, and then I would owe Van Morrison $20 million. So we don't do that. Did you? At any point, did you have a particular fear as to how you were going to be portrayed? Was there one thing you said to yourself or you said to your wife, "Ooh, I shouldn't have done that"?
Yeah, of course. But the vanity was the greater fear.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. But look, what I feared was how are they going to do this? Because it's a magazine with a long history. It's changed a lot in certain ways in the last 15 years because of technology. We've added a lot to it. So, podcast, you're doing what you're doing. And video, and how do we deal with the web, and all these things, how to deal with the internet. But I thought the guy did, in an hour and a half's time, got a lot of humanity and information in it. I mean, I think it's fair to say that it's not a takedown. It's more celebratory than anything else. And I hope people, look at that and they stumble across
Alabama going for it on 4th and 3.
Read it.
It's lovely.
I think the big
2, I think.
thing that I have to face, if I'm being honest with myself, is
at the 11-yard line.
That we're doing it is in complete defiance of every trend that you know to be
Well, they
true.
scored a touchdown, 17-7 now.
Reading, because we have that thing that's in our pocket, which challenges it all the time. Or, now the next, 16-wheeler coming around the corner is AI. What's that going to do to people's behavior and how they absorb information, how they seek it out? It ain't the world, that you and I started it with, the Washington Post and the New York Times, 3 networks, and blah, blah, blah. It's a vastly different media universe.
No, I watched it. I love that technique that they used when they went back in time and the years went backwards. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was wonderful. My only fear was that it was nostalgic, that it wasn't looking forward, that it was looking backwards. And, that wonderful scene which begins and ends the movie where some guy on a newsstand is putting the New Yorker into the slots. And that had great appeal for me, but I don't know about going forward. If anybody picks up magazines, if anybody reads magazines, if you just take it on the subway because there's a certain look that you want to project, I don't know that.
There's a lot of looks on the subway, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But the fact that your son reads it gives me hope. I know he's not 15 years old anymore. But
he's going to be 40. He's going to be 40,
but that's fine. I mean, the information universe that's out there is both more democratic than we began,
in some ways more interesting and varied, and access to audiences is radically different and easier. But is it better? And I think what we're trying to do at the New Yorker, and we're not the only ones, is we're blessed with resources and to do it, and an ownership that wants us to be at our best and freest. And so there's a great liberation in that. What kills me about some publications that they, look at the Washington Post, which I was at for 10 years and you for much longer, and it breaks my heart. And it's not the reporter's fault. It's not the editor's fault. They're working their asses off. They want to be as great as they possibly can. But at some point, Jeff Bezos, after being a very good owner for a while, decided that it wasn't his interest to be as aggressive and fearless as the Marty Baron era, much less the Ben Bradley or Len Downey era. And so that's an opportunity squandered, and that concerns me. So in our own way, I want to juice this orange as best we can to get the most out of it.
It's the best magazine. It's maybe the only magazine that can survive, and I think this will help. I need to ask this: did the family watch it with you or without you?
My wife watched it without me, and I sent it to my kids, and I never mentioned it again. I tread lightly where that's concerned. I want them to have their own lives untrammeled by, their father hulking around in a sweater and telling people this cartoon is funny or not.
I loved it. Thanks for being on. I loved it.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Tony.
David Remnick, boys and girls. Yes, you too.
Everybody.
Yes.
Take care, man. Be well.
David Remnick, whose job at the New Yorker, where there are enormous egos, because these people are great writers. His job is to herd elephants. It is hard to do. We will take a break. We will come back with email and jingle. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Guys, by now you've heard me talk about Collars & Co., makers of the dress collar polo. They've already sold over 1 million of these amazing bread.
We make our thick and creamy fresh.
Cane Bay High School in South Carolina, different than Tom Mosser.
Yes.
Different.
Yes.
Very different.
We've had that so long. Those high school kids are probably in their 30s now.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's
lovely. Do
beautiful.
you want to do the Bethesda Bagel?
Yes, Bethesda Bagels. We love them. You will as well. Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for a location in the D.C. area nearest you. Then pop one in. You'll be thrilled.
Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say, our temperatures rising, the jukebox blowing a fuse, heartbeat and rhythm, my soul keeps singing the blues. Roll over Beethoven, tell Tchaikovsky the blues. That's a great, great song. I stole from it once. I said, roll over Valvano, tell Krzyzewski the news. Just great. Thanks to our guests today, Chuck Todd, David Remnick. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey. If you get the show through Apple, please leave us a review. From Andrew in L.A., and then this is a downer. I'm going to say it's a downer, and it's an acknowledgement of something consequential that happened a couple of days ago, and this is the only one we're going to read. I know that the podcast is generally lighthearted, haikus about non-pressured monkeys, customer wait times, songs about 44-year-old quarterbacks, endless reminiscences about endless times and bunkers, but reality hit me in the face this morning. When I was a boy, my parents were close friends with Carl and Estelle Reiner during the show days. I wasn't close with Rob Reiner because being 2 years older than I saw me as a little kid. Rob's, Carl's, and my paths crossed occasionally in L.A. as we supported similar causes, and Rob and I recognized our shared heritage. To hear that his son may have murdered him and his wife is a jolt. I did not expect to read of someone I've almost known for 70 years go that way. Everybody feels this. Everybody feels that.
Yes.
From Nick Lefebvre in St. Paul, Minnesota. I've been watching PTI since day one. I've discovered this high-quality podcast during the first year of the pandemic. Lucky enough to get a few emails read on the air. You're welcome to share this one at all as well, but it's not the intent behind it. I began refereeing hockey when I was 12 years old. My other brother was a referee. We both played along with our dad. It was our favorite sport. Like so many fathers and sons, we spent countless hours at rinks and on the road to and from those rinks. We talked about how we played, and Dad would give his 2 cents. We talked about how we officiated a game, and Dad would give more than his 2 cents. Even when it was his sons, Dad never quite trusted the refs. In 2001, I graduated college, moved across the country, stopped playing, continued to ref. Without planning it, my father and I fell into a habit where I would call him while driving home after games. He liked hearing if there were any interesting calls, if there was any fun chatter with the players, or if I had to toss a coach. Those were his favorite stories. But the hockey game was just an excuse to talk. We'd always transition to family, life, politics, movies, whatever. Some of our biggest laughs, biggest advice happened during those calls. Usually the games were at night. Dad kept me company the entire drive back, which was sometimes more than an hour. I called him the voice in the dark that got me home. I'm writing this now because it's the 5-year anniversary of my dad passing. That day I was racing 400 miles to the hospital when my sister called and said I need to say goodbye right now. I wasn't going to make it in time. Pulled into a gas station. We had our last conversation, fittingly over the phone. It was good talk. He was lucid. To his oxygen mask, he apologized, not being able to watch my kids grow up. I thanked him for teaching me how to be a good father. That's hard for me. That was it. It goes on. I wanted to get to that part. Late night in the season, while getting into a car after a game, I saw an alert that the Tony Kornheiser show had a new episode. Without giving it much thought, I hit play as I started driving. For the first time since I started refereeing, I wasn't sad on the drive home. I was laughing. I don't remember if you were complaining about a busted RV on your block, varmints in your garden, or Wander Suero, but you were definitely complaining about something, and I was laughing.
Tracks.
Nothing will ever replace my dad. He was my best friend, but it always does. As it always does, time has softened my loss. The show continues to be a joy, and hearing you and Michael truly enjoy your time together as father and son helps me remember and appreciate it. It's very lovely.
That's lovely.
Nick Lefebvre in St. Paul. Daryl Holliday in Medante, Ontario, in Canada. Oro, Medante, in Canada. Over the years that I was serving as an educator, I could only find the time to enjoy PTI with you and Wilbon as part of my nightly routine to wind down from the day's events. But in the past 3 years since I've retired, I've added the podcast to my regimen. Whether the topic is golf, mice, moths, customer service, potato farming, or Chessie the dog, you and Michael and Nigel never fail to bring a smile to my face as I happily follow along in my car while I walk around the neighborhood. In the spirit of the season, I wanted to express sincere thanks for the joy that you spread among all littles throughout the year. Isn't that nice? Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, all my best in the year coming 2026. From Phil DeStito in Rome, New York, which is upstate. You had a run-in with a mouse over the weekend, so did we. Could this be another attempt at the start of the animal revolution? Unlike your situation where you heard noises coming from the kitchen, I was alerted to our mouse by the traditional method of my wife screaming for me. There was a mouse in our son's room climbing up the curtains. Arming myself with 2 saucepans and a marshmallow roasting stick, I had my wife close the door and seal me in. The hunt was on. He was on top of the windowsill, perched watching.
Oklahoma just botched a punt. Alabama's got great field position. Try to make a little bit of a closer game.
Windowsill down to the floor, landing on all fours, by the way, and dashed for the safety of the bookcase. I was able to corner him again and tried to get him out with the marshmallow stick to no avail. In preparing for my next attempt, he made a break for the closet. With a stretch and a dive, I trapped him in the saucepan. Getting cardboard underneath the pan, I carried the mouse out front, threw him into a snowbank. That's the last we'll see of him until the snow melts in March, maybe April, maybe. Happy holidays to you. So I was in
a 3-quart saucepan.
I was in the gym the other day talking about the mouse, and a woman said to me, "I'll tell you how to get him. You get a big bucket of water, fill the bucket with water, put peanut butter around the edges, and a ramp up, and the mouse will take the ramp up,
trying to peanut butter
fall in, and that's it." And I thought, I mean, I didn't really ask what I wanted to ask. I said, well, like, you doing this in the living room? Like, where do you get the
Tom
ramp
and Jerry
from?
episode?
Where do you get the ramp from? You got ramps in your house? Really? Chris in Apex, North Carolina. So are we now replacing Flush the Mouse with Froze the Mouse? We're not icing the kicker anymore. If he misses, we froze the mouse. If they call timeout in basketball and the player misses a free throw, we didn't ice the shooter, we froze the mouse. Michael, get the trademark and the Johnny O code ready. We're back for more cash, man. Steve Gilmore, San Angelo, Texas. The same people who invented unwanted phone updates are the same ones who invented microwave baking. Not a fan. Steve the Sycophant. Get ready. On the evening of December 17th.
It's tonight.
Tonight, the brightest object in the sky will be Jupiter. Yes, the largest planet will be shining in the eastern sky next to the constellation Gemini. Best viewing is soon after sunset, and if you have binoculars, a few of Jupiter's moons may be visible. Cold or no cold, get out there and look.
That's a big one.
Is the weather supposed to be accommodating tonight?
I'll check.
The temperature is going to be fine.
Yeah, it should be.
It's going to be 40. It's just after sunset is 6 o'clock. 5:30, 6 o'clock.
5.
So what's the temperature going to be? Probably
it's going to still be in the 40s.
Yeah. So, but I don't know if it's going to be clear. From Asim, It's hard. It says the A sounds like the first syllable of omelet, and the sim from a SIM card. My name used to be more rare until the Saints traded for an offensive lineman the same name earlier this year. Who dat? And you know who that offensive lineman is with the Saints?
Who's that?
He is of Romanian descent, and he is married to Ionescu, the great shooter for the Liberty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I read that last night. On Friday, my non-masculine child turned 18 months old. That means she was born on 6/12/24, 18 months ago. How's that for numbers? She was born at 6:06 a.m. Much like Michael attempted with the captain, I too asked to have the official birth time recorded as 6:12 a.m. after the woman to whom I'm related by marriage tried yet failed to delay the pushing. She was a good sport, though. The staff rooted for 6:12 too, but vehemently rejected my request to plug
let's
the
have some
numbers.
fun.
Alabama got a field goal, 17-10.
7 kitchen outlets.
2:08 left to go in the first half.
Edith Drew Holler, whose daughter I learned from the pod, also shares the same.
Why can't they give you the time you want?
An odd number of outlets.
Scott Jerome, Saltsha, Alaska. The Apple phone update came with a particularly rough week. The first cold snap of the season hit last week with daily high temperatures hovering around, minus 30. Yes, minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. The line from our brand new well froze, leaving us without water. Once the well guy and his crew fixed that, thanks Frank, the drain from our tub to the septic line froze. No showers available. If that wasn't enough, none of our 3 vehicles would start. This was all within 2 days, and of course my iPhone started acting like a prima donna, requiring all my attention just to make it do its job. By the end of the week, it warmed up for 2 days. During that time, we received over a foot of fresh snow, and then the mercury plummeted again. Minus 29 was the high today, with the forecast calling for the same over the next 5 days. I've lived in Alaska for over 21 years, so none of these inconveniences should surprise me. I'm what Alaskans call a sourdough. Sour on Alaska, no dough to leave. The Apple thing, though, that really put me over the edge. My pipes may freeze, my iPhone should not. Fight the power, Grandpa. I love this guy. As part of a research project in the Dunlap lab here at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, I worked with a team that scanned the brains of 20 sled dogs with a 1.5 Tesla MRI. No complaints, as they all got a cookie.
Wow.
Love this.
By the way, partly cloudy tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Phil Lombardo, Rochester, Minnesota, you're welcome. I've referred your podcast to 3 others. My brother and brother-in-law, both sports nuts, are now official listeners. However, not so much with my wife. I've tried, but our long car rides to western South Dakota or Florida from Minnesota requires I listen to you with earbuds while my wife gets Nicholas Sparks novels on books on tape or endless loops of ABBA over the sound system. Fork to both eyes would feel better. So I've netted you 1 new listener if my golf math is accurate, a marketing whiz. I guess I'm not, although your advertising rate should go up by a little, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. Love your pod. And the team need to get the Nicholas Sparks and ABBA fans to make it big, just saying. Ben Carton, not Carton, the official senator. The official, unofficial senator. So I hear Cigna is now Evercore. This means we need a new saying for when you have to deal with them. How does this one work for you? Expect very inconvenient communication or rejection every time. Yes. Yes, that goes on the pile. I feel like that has a nice ring to it. That's very, very nice.
Well done.
From Joey Einfeld, Joey in L.A., in honor of his successful survival this past Sunday, here are a handful of Philip Rivers is so old jokes for you. Philip Rivers is so old that he showed up in Baltimore for his first Colts practice. Philip Rivers is so old that his opponents watch him on tape by using a VHS player. Philip Rivers is so old that he writes check downs instead of throwing them. Rivers is so old he prefers to bring his own oxygen tanks. Philip Rivers is so old that his helmet radio only receives AM frequency. That's very good. From Brandon Borzelli, Reginald is losing games as badly as Mo Green was losing money with his casino. If Reginald gets paid a visit by Michael with an offer to buy him out, then Reginald better cancel all upcoming massage appointments. Rest assured there won't be a plaque or a signpost of him at the National Zoo. And from Alex Bakay in St. Louis, longtime fan of the podcast, watching PTI since 2005. Oh, this is for Jason.
Oh, did I do it again?
Yeah. So let's hold that for tomorrow. You gave that to me. If you're out in bike tonight, everyone, as always, do wear white.
They all get involved, and they all got their gear already, and so they're going to be all colored up in the maroon and black.
No.
Yep.
Have I got...
Hey, it's Tony. On today's show, we will talk to Jason LaCanfora about what we learned from Seattle's comeback win against the Rams and also about the officiating in that game, the 2-point conversion. We'll also talk to James Carville and Jeff Ma, get their weekly football picks. But first, Let's do some commerce, boys and girls.
Guys, by now you've heard me talk about
Here from Heed the Call. Things fast. It's about making.
He just went silent because what ordinary citizens do, because we're needy people and we want to please the person across from us, is you keep talking.
Yes, you do. Yes.
And that's when you get in trouble because you're trying to please your interlocutor. And he looked at me and I looked at him and finally I said, Marshall, I do this too.
The Tony Kornheiser Show is on now.
Remnick was wonderful.
The best.
Right? So I've got a lot of personal notes saying how good Remnick was. So I'm really glad about that.
So hoping the two of you would start talking capybaras or about the new meaning of aesthetic for kids today.
No, I didn't do that.
Be very New Yorker of you.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I'm not the one in the family that subscribes to the New Yorker. I believe you are. You know, and New Yorkers, it's the
I got to
best.
get my tote bag.
Yeah, it's the best magazine.
Oh, without question.
It's the best magazine, and it's in good hands with David. And he's been there for a long time. He's not by nature an editor. He's by nature a writer. Between us, we have one Pulitzer Prize. He's got it. He's a great writer and a great thinker. And to edit is a different set of muscles. It's really different. But he was great on the show. I'm glad for that. I don't believe I'm the only one who's noticed this. Traffic has thinned out.
Yeah,
and it always thins out on a Friday because people take advantage of leaving if they want 3-day weekends. But I think this has to do with Christmas next week. The fact that Christmas is not at the end of a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the middle of the week. The fact that it's Apollonia. The fact that it's Thursday, I think people are leaving now.
Oh, sure.
I think they're taking the whole week.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you get
so
that
there are guides online as to how to maximize your paid time off. If you can flex certain days into, an already established long weekend or week off.
So that's what's going on
Could
now?
be.
Yeah. And I would guess probably 2 weeks. Because you get the same thing
with
New Year's. So,
and you have a late Thanksgiving, so it's been a month.
We'll see you in 2026.
Didn't you used to say to me that when you were teaching, you were only teaching up to Thanksgiving? Could you explain that to people?
No, it's just there's for a school year and for even a show like ours where we follow a similar pattern of Labor Day through the end of the summer, it's such a uphill climb to create a sense of community, to get into the rhythm of any school year. And then once you get that established, you all of a sudden are doing real schoolwork. That's sort of your October, and then you get to Thanksgiving, and everything should be on cruise control, even if you have, exams, finals, big projects. It's just the class has been set. It's why those first weeks are so important.
And that stands true all the way to June?
Yeah.
So most of the learning is done early, and then
I wouldn't. It's a different kind of learning.
Oh, okay.
And for us, you think about what happens once you get into the start of the football season, and then when that cranks up, and then you get sort of quarter by quarter, and you get to playoffs.
He gets talking about the start of the football season. Last night's game was a wonderful game. I'm not going to lie and say I stayed up for all of it. I watched the first half, and then this morning watched all the highlights. These two teams, the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, have played twice this year. They're division opponents. Each time the home team has won by a very small margin. The first time the Rams won by 2, and Seattle had a chance with a 61-yard field goal attempt to win at the buzzer. Last night, Seattle was home. They won by 1 on 2 successive 2-point conversions. The first of which, now we're certainly going to talk to Jason La Canfora about this, but the first of which, Michael and I have a disagreement of sorts. My feeling is that as weird as that play was, it was indeed a backwards pass, which made it a live ball when it went off. Was it the helmet of the Rams player and drifted into the end zone? Nobody went after it vigorously. Once the ball, the Rams tried to intercept it on the rebound, but once it fell to the ground, the Rams didn't seem to care, thinking it was an incomplete pass. When the Seattle player picked it up, it seemed to me, with the intent of handing it to the ref, because he didn't. They all thought it was dead. My feeling was it wasn't dead, so I'm sorry. That's the right call, and that's the way it ought to be. And your feeling
is... It's just the paradox of it. It's the right call, but what is the sense of whether it's correct or not? And when you see the player picks it up casually, it shows that everyone assumes that it's dead, and it feels like a point after or a 2-point conversion there has a different rhythm and sense of timing than just a normal down.
I give a lot of credit to Seattle. Sam Darnold intercepted twice Last time 4 times. 6 picks in 2 games with the Rams. And he hung in there and he completed passes. And they were down 16 points with 9 minutes to go in the game. And ultimately won the game in overtime. I think the Rams are a better team, me personally. I don't know what's going to happen now because there are 2 games left. And Seattle has a very difficult 2 games. They're at Carolina. Carolina not a pushover at home. And then they're at San Francisco. San Francisco has something to play for. San Francisco's in this same division as Seattle and the Rams.
Oh, touchdown Alabama. I think we're tied up.
Atlanta stinks. And then home
From
against
17-0 to tied up at 17.
Arizona
I think that was a pick
stinks
6.
Worse than Atlanta. So I think the Rams will win those 2. Seattle needs to win. They need to win 2 or 1. They need to win 1. I don't know the tiebreaker though. I don't know.
Let's look it up.
If they both finish, say 13-4, I don't know what their tiebreaker is. They have played twice. The Rams have won by 2. Seattle has won by 1. Is that the tiebreaker? Total points?
I don't think it's aggregate.
That would be really chintzy. Really would be. So I don't know how it's going to work. Both teams will get in the playoffs, obviously, but you want to be the one because you get the home field all the way through. And if you're Seattle, you're in an outdoor stadium that often gets cold. You can go to Green Bay. You can live with it. If you're the Rams, hard to go to Green Bay, hard to go to Chicago, hard to do that. Yeah. So, speaking of Chicago, Wilbon was impossible yesterday on the show. It was no fun. It was honestly no fun because he was yelling and screaming about how the Bears are never going to Indiana. But it seems to me, at the very least, the Bears are in talks about going to Indiana. Now, if they want to use that as leverage to get the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago to make concessions to them, fine. That's the way the game is played. But if you're in talks with Indiana, then you are conceding the possibility that you could go to Indiana. Maybe a long shot, but you're conceding the possibility. Ted Leonsis, in an act of villainy, attempted to move the Washington Capitals and the Washington Wizards into Virginia. He attempted to do that. While he was talking with D.C., he announced he was going to Virginia. Now, it blew up in his face because he didn't understand the politics of Virginia, where a one-term governor doesn't have as much power as the leaders in the state assembly, who said, no, this is not going to happen. And it, in fact, didn't happen. He got a lot of concessions from D.C., though. But you have to concede the possibility. 50 years ago, I was living in New York. The New York Giants and the New York Jets moved to New Jersey. It's 50 years now. It still stinks. Okay, everyone has accepted it, but nobody in New York was happy about it, nor are they happy about it now. It's 50 years out. And these things happen, and people would have said at the time, move to New Jersey. No way. Yeah, but they did. They actually did move to New Jersey, and Wilbon was just screaming about how this would never happen. I don't know. I mean, don't you think...
If this is a board game, how many moves do you think we're into it? Is this just an opening move, or are we deeper into the play?
No, I don't think we're that deep into it. No, I don't think so. It's the first time anybody's mentioned Indiana. The governor came out. The governor's aide said, are you kidding me? What? What?
I'm just spitballing here.
At that point, what the state of Illinois would do, it seems to me, is they would... agree to put a stadium somewhere in Illinois. Because, look, if you're in Indiana, I'm pretty good at geography. That's another state. That's not Illinois. It's not Chicago. Chicago, when you address mail to Chicago, it goes Chicago, Illinois.
Scruff, McGruff.
Yes, it doesn't go Chicago, Indiana. It doesn't do that. That's another state. And all of the funding, all the money that flows in, that's not going to Illinois. That's going to Indiana. Indiana's giggling. Indiana's saying, we got a shot? You think we got a shot at this? But Wilbon was just, right?
Oh, yes.
Screaming, yelling. There's no point in me being on the show.
It was difficult.
There's no point.
Yeah. So how quickly are you able to reset? Does it take you a full night and by today you're fine and you're going to have a great show, or does this linger for another day or two?
No, it's not going to linger. I mean, the show...
A couple weeks.
Yeah. No, the show... Every show is new. And in every show there's a possibility of it being great.
But you'll try and needle them at every opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. About the Indiana Bears. How the Indiana Bears doing?
Can we please get some custom jerseys for them?
Yeah, Indiana Bears. Yes, I will certainly try to do that. But that, it started out. We have... Eric likes to write those jokes about, a Florida man or a Colorado man or a California man and some weird thing that happened. And Mike denies these things have happened. Mike says, no, it didn't happen. I don't believe it. No, it actually does happen. This is not fake news. But these things happen. Arrests are made. You can look it up. And so it starts with him in denial. And then as soon as you do a story, and any story about the Bears or the Bulls or the Cubs, he's going to be right on the edge all the time. So
I'm just wondering, if they do move to Indiana, would that mean that Larry Bird would be on the text chain with him at that point?
I guess. But Larry Bird, because of Indiana State, I think all the people on the Pacers would be on it.
Exactly.
I think Tyrese Halliburton would take over for Richard Dent. I think that's how it would work. All right, we'll take a break. Jason La Canfora joins us. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear from Jason La Canfora about this particular play and about the standard question I have, what, if anything, changed with last night's game? And maybe something did this time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
You know how there's always that one person in the family who somehow wins Christmas every year? The one whose gifts make everyone
We've heard this ad enough.
Basic. Getting more anytime from anywhere is their best of the...
Available only at the Farmer's Dog.
Their drummer, Dan McCool, by chance on Instagram, because they share the same name. What started out off as an inside joke with myself has turned into a great friendship. It's been awesome to watch the band grow over the past few years. I'm excited to promote their newly released sophomore full-length studio record, Weirdo, which the band describes as an ode to the feeling of letting go of the discomfort in not belonging. I've attached the track Good Enough. Pollyanna, currently gearing up for a 2026 tour, recently launched a GoFundMe to repair their beloved van, Barbara. They call their van Barbara?
Babs.
Littles can find more details, including where to donate, on their Instagram at This Is Pollyanna. Wow, this is good. And he says, shout out to my dad, Matt McCool, the only person I've ever recommended the show to. He hated it. He's definitely not listening. Good to know. Plays in Jason La Canfora. We have this from Alex Mackay. Online sports betting finally became legal on December 1st in the state of Missouri, and I was able to download an app to get all the free bonus money. I decided to watch Wanna Bet a week before and started betting when it opened December 1st. I love the show. Got my brother watching Wanna Bet as well. Jason and Ben do a great job on what to bet, and most of the times they hit. Buccaneers and Falcons game made me the most money so far. Putting a bet on a parlay for their bets of Bijan Robinson receiving yards and over 20-plus reception on top of 3 other receiver yards netted a good amount of winnings. I also like how they make bets in Bundesliga, Premier League, NCAA basketball, NFL, and all sports. It's like having Carville betting on the show when he tells you to take the first half total of a basketball game or bet over 89.5 for Tulsa in their Arkansas Pine Bluff basketball game. You should do that. I'll be eating lobster this weekend from Jason's show. We'll continue to watch and do most of their picks. Jason, isn't that nice? Alex Mackay in St. Louis, he loves you.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. We greatly appreciate that. Tulsa hung 117 on Arkansas Pine Bluff in that one, by the way. You remember some of those. When the team total, it's with 8 minutes to go. It feels pretty good.
Wow.
It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, you tend to remember it. It's awesome. But look, we had a great night last night. Always Ben was all over a Ferguson touchdown, plus 500. The night before that, Josh Giddey triple-double, plus 425. I swept the NBA last night. Was profitable in Thursday Night Football. We're working it, man.
Good.
We're working the markets morning, noon, and night.
Let me get to Thursday Night Football and ask you the question that I always ask you. What, if anything, did we learn from last night's game?
Well, we learned NFL officiating remains an enigma wrapped in a quandary. Like, that 2-point play, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't look to me that Charbonneau thought he was picking up
very casual. He was giving that ball to the referee.
A winning 2-point conversion. Yeah, he was just being a good Samaritan. Like, nobody thought that was a live ball, including the officials. And then they get a call from Big Brother.
Oklahoma and Alabama tied at 17 at halftime.
So, you get an arcane sort of ruling on what common sense-wise everybody thought that was a dead ball. Was a ball knocked down by a Rams defender? Was it fractionally traveling backwards? I suppose. You know that fumbles can't be, advanced for a touchdown since the Holy Roller play. I think that was 78 pounds. So, I don't know, man. It's just, again, it remains a scourge and a scandal to me that they're so cute. Like, so they cleaned up their act to make sure they make sure they get the referee, the former league paid employee, on board with them during the break. Like, they're smart enough now to know we got to sell our BS to them
under the cloak of zero transparency, because we don't know who's on the phone with whom. We don't know who's on the direct line. We still don't know who's even in the room that night in NFL officiating, or who could be coming in and out of the Central Command room in New York. But we get situations like this where they'll wade in on that, and then there's other, blatant situations where something's been missed, and they don't wade in.
What would you have done?
It blows my mind.
What would you have done last night?
Well, there needs to be a camera in the NFL's officiating room. And when they're making these decisions, we need to know who made them. And they need to speak to them. And if now they're going to just make sure we get whoever is the official, the Blandino or the Sperator or whatever. Like, if now the game is, well, we're going to tell them some stuff to make sure that they know where we're coming from, then why aren't we privy to that conversation? Why don't you put that person on air like they do in some other sports and have them explain it? I don't know.
What call would you have made? That's what I'm asking. What call would you have made on that?
It's clear to me that the officials thought that thing was dead.
Yes. And the players
Everybody
did.
thought that was dead.
Players,
so,
yes.
If that's one where Big Brother thinks otherwise, then at the very least, Big Brother better come out and like, the person who's on the phone with those officials, phone is the wrong way, but the technology that exists now, where they can get right into the truck with whoever's doing the game, and they can get right into the ear with whoever's calling the game. Who is that person? How about we start there?
But what I'm saying is, so you would not, I understand everything you're saying about accountability and a lack of, you can't hide. You have to come out and you say, here, I'm the person who did this. I understand all that. But the call itself, would you have allowed the 2-point conversion, or would you have said no? No.
I mean, I guess what I'm asking for is clarity as to when they're going to jump in and adjudicate these things from New York and when they're not.
Right. But what would you have done with the call? I mean, I would have let the call stand.
Here's what I think would have happened. If that happened in a 1 o'clock window with 8 other games, I think it goes. Yeah. I think it goes as call on the field, and we're not talking about it the next day. I think because it's a standalone game and the playoffs are on the line, and I don't know, like, they jumped in. Why did they jump in? Did they jump in because a closer game means better ratings? It's like, I don't know the answers to that. I don't even know who's on the phone with whom. And I don't know that because they don't want you to know that. And the fact that they don't want you to know that, to me, is in and of itself more troubling than how is it a backwards pass? Is it a lateral? Isn't it a lateral? Is adjudicated by whomever at Park Avenue. I think their process is inherent.
So you want someone from the NFL office to stand up and say, I am X, I made that call.
Yeah, I think we know who the officials are on the field.
Well, they don't make the call.
Why can't they announce who's in the room tonight? Tonight we're going to have Troy Vincent's in the building. He's going to be coming in and out of the room. We also have blah, 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 blah. Our head of officiating, they're in Central Command tonight. And when they get on the truck to tell them what they want, we're going to share that with America.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but in real time last night, it happened pretty quickly. It was weird. It's just a weird thing. And did it decide the game? In effect, it did, because it tied the game. It
had a huge outcome in the game. Yeah, it had a huge outcome in the game.
Yeah.
And I think just moving forward, that seems like a loophole that should probably be closed.
Is there
is that written that way?
Is there any percentage in what you're saying that has to do with betting?
Oh, I mean,
because that changes everything.
I mean, there's a lot there's over under.
Right.
There is who won the game.
Yes.
Yardage, and they're partners with all these people.
Yeah.
They create there's people who didn't even know how that was going to be scored. You know what I mean? Is Charbonnet going to get credited in some way
for 2 points?
What he did there?
Yeah.
Like, all of this is entangled into their product. They're selling still more ads for that stuff during their product, which is an entertainment product, than anything else. And so by co-signing that and filling your broadcast with that, you're basically endorsing that. So if you're endorsing that,
yes,
then I think there needs to be transparency as to why in a primetime game Christian McCaffrey can be pulled, not pushed from behind, can be pulled by a cavalcade of offensive linemen into an end zone. The officiating person on that broadcast says it's blatantly illegal. Not only is it not a touchdown, he needs to lose 10 yards. And that slides. But this sort of in the weeds, hyper-esoteric, like, boy, we're really going way beyond what anybody on the field saw to make this point that this is where the league thinks those 2 points need to be scored this way. I find that frankly bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair word for it because everyone on the field and everyone watching had accepted the fact that that was an incompleted pass, right? Everybody says
walking for a special teams play. Everybody's walking for a kickoff.
Yeah. Once the ball, I mentioned this before you got on. Once the pass hits the ground, you can see the Rams guy diving for it to try to make an interception. Once it hits the ground, everyone sort of says, "Okay, that's a dead ball now." So, yeah, I mean, to reverse it after the fact like that. But I think what the NFL would say is, look, these are the rules. The rules say that on a backward pass, X is live, right? Wouldn't they say that?
And I would say, well, the rules say you can't pull someone into an end zone. And you saw that. Right. Everybody saw that. Tony, we also had a primetime game where Jared Goff catches a touchdown pass. Everybody on the field thinks it's a touchdown.
Yes.
The officials think it's a touchdown.
Yes, I remember that.
They tell Dan Campbell it's a touchdown. That's changed during a commercial break, and the next day Dan comes out, and nobody has challenged this, and says, yeah, by the way, they told me everybody in the league thought it was a good play, but Big Brother said no. Oh, okay.
Does this go as
so
high?
We're doing it all the time? We're doing it some of the time.
Does this?
We're doing it, like, what are we doing?
Do you want?
The whole thing. I'm here for that. Just go hire more good people. Actually invest some of the billions that you're raking in, right? Invest it in your product. Invest it in the adjudication of your product, and be transparent about it. That's all. I don't think that's too high of a bar to ask for, but in this league it probably is.
Do you expect today, probably not as high as the commissioner, but the head of the competition committee or the head of refereeing or something like that, do you expect today someone to come out with a statement about this?
No. No.
Do you think they'll just duck?
But we did it. We thought it right, so we got it right.
Okay. Okay.
Stand on business.
Yeah. I have 1,000 other things, but I'm interested in this. Do you, by the way, the Rams have 2 easy games coming up, at Atlanta and home Arizona. And the Seahawks have relatively hard games at Carolina and at San Francisco is a hard game. That's a division game.
Yeah.
Who do you expect to be the number 1 seed?
There's a part of me that still says the Rams, but I mean, the games the Rams have lost, it's been
brutal.
So bizarre.
The Philadelphia game, brutal.
Self-inflicted. And even the Carolina game where there's a 4th and 2 and a 4th and 3, and they both turn into 40-plus yard touchdown passes.
Yeah.
And Stafford, the interception in the end zone off the dude's helmet, and their kicking game still gives me pause. I know that guy has been pretty good, but he also he's getting into uncharted territory, and they just have a way of being in these scenarios where they've got a 95+% chance of winning, and they don't win.
They don't win.
It does certainly give me pause, but I mean, it took a lot of weird-ish to get us where we got, I mean, it took a Shaheed return. It took a Shaheed 30-yard run. It took a bizarre 2-point conversion. It took the Rams kicker missing, one that most NFL kickers make. Even the San Francisco primetime loss. I mean, there's no way they should have lost that game in San Francisco and Mac Jones that night. And they did, right? We had the fumble going across the goal line. We had a fumble in the high red zone.
I think they're the best team, but that doesn't mean I think they'll win.
But they do find a way to just leave the door open enough.
Yes.
Obviously, the Eagles returned the block for the touchdown. I do think they're the best team, and I do prefer their schedule. I'm right there with you, but that's a wild scenario out there in the NFC West.
It is.
The 49ers may have something to say about it. If people do slip up.
All right, plug one a bet.
You can check me and Beltway Ben out pretty much at noon, definitely 7 days a week, usually at noon. And the emailer said it, better than we can. Any market that we're interested in, that we're gambling in, we try to tell you why we've made the plays we feel strongest about. We tell you when we're doing well. We tell you when we're not doing well. We keep score. We track every bet. We let you know how you can profit with us. You can check us out at wantabetwithus.com. And I know you've got a lot of media industry people who listen to you, Tone. If anybody looking to amplify or buttress their NFL coverage across any platform for 2026,
here's Jason.
You can email me at wantabetwithus@gmail.com. I will not be back with our friends at the Washington Post. So I am a free agent. And
are you announcing that now?
Well, I didn't know.
I love your stuff.
I just found out a couple weeks ago. Well, look, times are tough. The industry is in a rough way, and a lot of entities don't have the freelance and stringer and contributor budgets that they used to. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to contribute written, video, audio, whatever. You cover the NFL, I could probably do something for you.
Good. Thank you, Jason. We'll talk next week.
Happy holiday.
Thank you. Jason Lockton for our boys and girls. We will take a break. When we come back, we hope to have James Carville. We know we have Jeff Ma and Tony Kornheiser.
The process of accepting insurance outside of a group, less time. The flavor. Ditch the subscription.
There's no fork in the pan. But you better not complain, boy. You get in trouble with the man.
When we go back to James Carville's walk-in music, the right walk-in music, he responds. You were 4-0 last week. You're right near Mount 500, 40, 42, and 2. And this week's picks with James Carville and Jeff Ma are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Great week last week, right? You feel good, don't you?
Yeah, but we were able to, since the ACL Sports were able to hook into one of these new data centers that they have 6 million computation points, so we were able to run. To run 6 million.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. So there, we got these data centers. There's all kinds of things, man. We factor in there, so we can rather roll this week.
It's a great week. Tell us what you have this week, because we got college games back. Yeah.
We got the great Memphis Tigers with North Carolina State. Memphis is getting 3.5.
Okay.
Let's go with the River City.
Taking Memphis, okay.
This one I hate to do, but this is what the algorithm says. I got to do it. Ole Miss minus 17 at home against Tulane.
It's your hometown school. You're betting against them?
The data centers have converted, so I back with football. Well, against myself, I take Ole Miss because you got 6 million data points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but did they figure in a new coach, like who's never?
Oh yeah, they figure in everything.
Okay.
They figure in everything. They got the coach have a coach.
Okay, so you got Ole Miss. Okay, what else?
JMU goes out to Oregon.
Yes.
That's not going to end well.
Yeah, take Oregon.
Late 20.5.
Okay.
And I love JMU if I put it out there by my fault.
Yeah.
But this is too much.
Okay.
You got Southern Miss in Western Kentucky. I know everybody's waiting on that game. I don't know if I can stand the tension before we kick off. I'll try. You can cut it with a knife, right?
Yeah.
Southern Miss, which y'all got plus 3.6? No,
3.5.
What's the line you see it?
3.5. Southern Miss plus 3.5. Okay.
3.5.
Okay.
3.5.
What else?
That's what I got. The Jags and the Broncos. Oh, wait. Sean Payne ain't coach of the year. There's no coach of the year in NFL.
Oh, over Mike Vrabel? Over Mike Vrabel in your mind?
I guess it's going to be close.
Yeah.
He's done a hell of a job out there, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Over under 46.5. Go over.
Okay, so I got to talk you out of this. You lose all the over bets. You always lose the over bets. You sure you want to do this?
You don't argue with a 6 million data point.
Okay.
That's complicated at 1/100th of a microsecond.
Okay. All right.
Okay. This thing, this data form. Okay. Yeah. I got to go with that.
Okay.
And then we got the
Titans and the Chiefs. And the Titans would get the 3.5. Take the Titans. The Chiefs, that wasn't the most. And I love Andy Reid, but they just had a disappointing season.
Well, it's not Mahomes. Obviously, we know it's not Mahomes.
Minshew, right?
It's Gardner Minshew. Is this at Kansas City? No, it can't be.
I think it's the Tennessee.
Is it
Tennessee?
Yeah, I think so.
At Tennessee? Tennessee stinks. You know that.
I understand.
Yeah.
Getting 3.5 points at home.
Yeah.
The flip side, if you stink against a team that's quarterback now.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I looked at it, you know, again, that nanosecond computer, man, that can digest all that. You know?
I hope you don't. I hope that at the end of the weekend, I hope you don't take the nanoseconds and throw them into the river. That's all I'm saying. That's all we'll see. All right. Good to talk with you. Best of luck.
Yeah, after Christmas.
Yes. Happy holidays. No, we're gonna.
We'll be on next.
We'll be on. No, we'll be on next week. Next Wednesday. We'll be on. We'll do a show next Wednesday. Christmas Eve.
We'll be up and ready to go.
Yes.
We'll be probably, I don't know, 4-2, 5-1, I'm guessing.
I hope so.
Okay.
Talk to you.
Good deal.
James Carville, boys and girls.
Oh, man, we got it now.
I hope this works.
Carville's laugh, the early Christmas present.
Love it. Yeah, it's just wonderful. So we will move from James Carville to Jeff Ma, and here is Jeff Ma. We've got Jeff Ma with us. Jeff didn't have a great week last week, 2-3, but he's 44, 32-1, which is the best record of anyone, including Simeon's, who picks for us on a regular basis, by far the best. Before we get to your picks, you took a golf trip to Las Vegas last week. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I went to go visit some friends, go see the NBA Cup, and go try this new restaurant called Gymkhana, which is a Michelin star Indian restaurant out of London. Got to play the Summit Club with my friend Shane Sixby, who's about a +5 handicap. Had the pleasure of playing golf with Dexter Fowler and Johnny West. And I don't know if you know who Johnny West is.
Johnny West is Jerry West's youngest child who married Michelle Wee, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I got to tell Johnny the story, because I don't know if you know this, but one of the first companies I started, we had at that time a baseball face of the company who was Billy Bean. We had a football face of the company who was Bill Walsh. And so we needed a basketball person. And, mind you that this company was started all on the concepts of Moneyball and analytics and statistics. So he was with Memphis at the time, and I flew there to talk to him and recruit him to be part of this new company called ProTrade. And I sat down across the desk from him, and his first words were, "Boy, I got one thing to tell you. I hate statistics." So we had to sit there for 2 hours. And now what was interesting is, what it turned out was that Jeremy hated the way that the world used statistics at that time. And so this is probably 2004. He thought that it was annoying that people thought Allen Iverson was a good basketball player, even though he needed 30 shots to score 30 points. And by the end of the 2 hours that I was with him, he was calling his scouts and whatnot, asking them to start tracking, the number of deflections that their defensive players got. So what he meant was that he hated the way that the world used statistics. He didn't actually hate statistics themselves, and he ended up becoming an advisor of the company. I flew down once to go visit with him. He would call me every once in a while, and he actually, when I went to go visit him in LA, he picked me up in a Maybach. And what was funny is, these are cars that, that typically someone else drives, but Jerry was driving the Maybach himself.
So he had the greatest career in the history of basketball. From the time he started playing to everything else he did when he stopped playing, the single greatest career. I've never met anyone that doesn't like Jerry West, and I was personally offended at that HBO series a couple of years ago that was so mean to him and unfair to him. Do you remember that thing?
I don't think I watched that, but I would very much agree with you that he was an incredible, he set the tone with me to say, I hate this, but then what the reality was, he was incredibly thoughtful and, what gave me the time and made me feel like I was important, asked me questions about what I did. And so, to be able to share that with his son over the course of a golf round was pretty special.
Is the kid any good? Is he a good player? Is Johnny any good?
I mean, he was like a one handicap.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. He was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have the heart to ask him whether his wife beats him or not, but,
she's plus. Oh, she's definitely plus. It depends on how long the course is at this point. Did you say you went to the NBA Cup, that phony baloney tournament? Why did you do that?
Well, my friend Evan Wash, he's the runs basketball strategy for the NBA. It's his brainchild. So I went out there and watched the final game. It's fun to see it out there. I mean, the teams play hard. They really want to win. So I mean, why do you think it's phony? Just because it doesn't mean anything, really?
It is utterly meaningless. It has no meaning in the standings whatsoever. It's an attempt to cash in on soccer because the soccer is the most important global sport, and the NBA wants to try and get out of the shadow and do what soccer does. I just think that it comes at a time in the season where it's forgotten within a week. And by the way, they're moving it out of Las Vegas, and they're apparently talking about Cameron, to put it in Cameron. They think it's a failure in Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I think the finals may still be in Vegas, but the semifinals, they're saying, well, yeah, you're right. They're going to move them likely.
Yeah. So, all right. That's interesting. That's interesting that you went to that and you liked it. Good for you. I would. I watched. Well, I watched half. I watched half, and then I just said, "That's enough of this. I don't need this." My dream. I said this on PTI the other day, Jeff. I said I wanted to see Adam Silver at half court with a green eye shade and an Emirates shirt handing out 20s to Jalen Brunson. That's what I wanted to see. So,
I mean, he could do it like they do in rap videos where he's just breaking them off and throwing them up in the air in Vegas.
That'd be great. Cool. All right, let's get to your bets because you got college and pro. You got a million different things. What do you want?
I'm going to take 3 college games.
Okay.
So on Friday night, what do you guys have? Do you guys have Oklahoma plus 1.5, or are they favored now?
It's Oklahoma minus.
It's
flipped. It's minus 1.5 now.
Oh, well, minus 1.5. Okay, I'm going to take Oklahoma minus the 1.5. Just to, Alabama is not quite right. It seems like Ty Simpson is not quite right.
Right.
And, Pierre's finally healthy. Oklahoma at home, I think, will win this game.
They beat him at Tuscaloosa. They should be able to beat him in Norman.
Well, that Tuscaloosa game, everyone talks about how, Alabama outplayed them with the exception of the turnovers, and that's really why Alabama lost that game. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, when they look at something like that, say, well, as long as they don't turn the ball over, they should win this game. But again, Oklahoma to me will win this game, and so, I like them on a short line like that. I'm going to take James Madison plus the 21.5. What do you guys have?
21.
21, yeah. They've got a really good defense. I think they're going to be able to keep this game closer than people think. It's obviously a huge step up in talent for them. I really like their coach. I think they will make this game more competitive than people think.
Okay, I will just tell you that Booger McFarland on PTI with us said that Oregon could name the score of that game. Just so I'm just telling you. It's all right.
Well, that's why it's 21, right? That's why. And again, I think it's a little. This is one of those cases where you got to give a lot of points to get someone to bet on James Madison.
Yep.
And the question is, did they give too many points? And in my mind, they did.
Okay, what else?
I'm going to take Miami plus the 3.5 over A&M. Miami obviously very talented. This is a game where probably to me should be closer to even. So getting 3.5 points. With the Miami team that has a lot of talent, I like that. I like that line.
I want to refer to this as the Notre Dame Bowl because these are the 2 teams that beat Notre Dame in August, and now Notre Dame's not in this tournament where they actually should be. So this is the Notre Dame Bowl for me. By the way, I read today that the coach at Texas A&M is a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. He played football there and his grad there, and was said by the coach at that time he's the smartest kid I've ever had. So anyway, all right, what else?
Is that still an Ivy League school, or is it?
Yeah, it's a 4-year school and an Ivy League school.
Words hurt, Jeff.
Yeah, and my son went there. So, come on.
It's a 4-year accredited university.
It is.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good.
Panthers plus the 3 over Tampa Bay. Just Tampa's. Their defense is really not great, and Baker, I'm not sure if he's completely healthy. Obviously, getting all their weapons back offensively makes them stronger, but again, like 3 points, for a home dog, two teams that I think are pretty close to even at this point, and I think Bryce Young will be able to put up some points on them, so I like them +3.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the Lions -6 over Pittsburgh. Whipped on the Lions last week when the Rams took over that game and covered. Still not a big believer in Pittsburgh, despite what they did on Monday night and despite what they did against the Ravens. So I think that the Lions can win this game by margin.
Okay, that's good. You going to take any more or just 5?
Just 5.
Okay. Who's on Bet the Process?
It's just Rufus and I this week. We do what we do call the mailbag, where we get people submit questions. And so we cover a lot of things. Actually, someone asked me to retell the Tony Kornheiser meeting Tony Kornheiser having him park my car story.
Here's my keys,
so I
kid.
got to retell that again.
That's great. That's great. All right, good luck with this. Talk soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony.
This week's picks with James Carville and Jeff Ma have been brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more, and we will come back with email and jingle. I am Tony Kornheiser.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because simple. Every dog could experience the benefits of.
Really, Glenn? Is Tony going to read some emails, faxes, and notes? He sure is, Alan. He's going to read them for all the folks. Gee, Glenn, that's swell.
Norwegian soft kick with a bit of irony. You want to do the Bethesda Bagel ad for us?
Yes, Bethesda Bagels. We love them. You will as well. Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location in the DC area nearest you. You can pop one in and you'll be thrilled.
And before we get to the mailbag, let me just say, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. And everybody sings, "Oh, weep away, oh, weep away." Those are the tokens. That's at least 65 years old.
Yeah, 1961, I think, number one.
65
years
old. Long Island group, by the way. Thanks to our guests today, Jason Lockenford, James Carville, Jeff Ma. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey. You get the show through Apple. Please leave us a review. Okay, here are Glenn and Alan, Norwegian Soft Kit. While speaking with David Remnick on Wednesday's show, you said you don't play bands on the show who are a known commodity. We'll have you know that if you go to a rural grade school in China and say to the students, Norwegian Soft Kitten, the students' faces will light up as a raucous chant of NSK. NSK erupts from the children. If you go to the Commons at a university in Armenia and call out NSK, an impromptu dance party will ensue, with students roaring out the name of the band and singing lyrics to our songs. If you go to any brothel in Bangkok and say to the first employee as you see Norwegian Soft Kitten, her face will brighten as she replies, Glenn and Alan, we all love them here. As you can clearly see, Norwegian Soft Kitten is a known commodity, but since you'll forever be our hot bagel, you can play us royalty-free from here to eternity. From Casey Cruitz, I listened to Wednesday's show, and on Thursday, and on that day, Dictionary.com's word of the day was voluminist, which is a collector of matchbooks and matchboxes. So can you please now declare yourself as the official voluminist of the Tony Kornheiser Show? I had no idea there was such a word.
Yeah, it's not voluminous.
Philluminist. Well, Jeff Simpson, Arlington, Virginia. I listened to your segment about matchboxes on Wednesday's podcast with great enthusiasm. I'm pleased to inform you that matchboxes are making a comeback. Lots of restaurants have revised the practice of giving them out. My wife and I collect matchboxes at restaurants and bars when we travel, and even when we eat out here in D.C., we display them in a bowl on our living room coffee table. They serve as a reminder of the places we've traveled and experiences we've had. They're also great storytelling material for cocktail hour with guests. People inevitably ask about them. We get to tell stories about our favorite places. I've included photos below of a few of our favorites. Dante and Missy in New York City, Asteria Mosa in Georgetown, and Raw 167 in Charleston, South Carolina. Michael was spot on about framing them. We framed one from the Dabney, the place downtown where we had our first date in March 2023. We had this done at Framebridge, the place Nigel suggested. By far our favorite matchbox is the one we had designed as table favors for guests at our wedding reception. An artist from Etsy sketched various pictures that tell the story of our relationship, including one of the Capitol building. Of course, my brilliant wife was the mastermind behind all of this. We still have a few extras, so I'll be glad to send one of these to your office. Also, I feel sort of bad. I forgot to invite you to my wedding. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Yeah, these are lovely. I think this is what I'm going to have to do, but I have hundreds.
We have to create categories for you.
I've
work travel, personal travel.
Yeah, I got to go through them. Mark Corriere, Ellicott City, Maryland. A collage of your matchboxes would be great for the elevator in Rehoboth. but I think they would be better appreciated as prizes for the littles for the Met.
I'm not sure I can send those.
No, you know. Brian Moeller, Chuck and Roxy, 167, Table Rock Lake, Missouri. You definitely hit a nostalgic spot with a matchbook discussion. I can distinctly remember restaurants and hotels having them readily available for visitors growing up. I hadn't thought much about it in recent years until my wife came home from a day of visiting garage sales with a giant fishbowl full of old matchbooks, picture attached for those watching on News Channel 8. We had a blast looking through the collection and featured locations all over the country. The bowl's been a favorite for visitors to our home ever since. It even made enough of an impression that my son and his wife had the idea of making personalized matchbooks as the guest keepsake for their Vegas wedding. Yeah, well, a lot of people do that. You know, a lot of people do that. But, yeah, I mean, I've never, mine are out, but they're not displayed, and I don't let them come to my house or anything like that.
No, the problem is you can only see the top layer.
Yeah.
So there are hundreds buried.
There really are hundreds.
Yeah, that's a big project.
Jose Podesta, I'm sorry. Did Mr. Tony say he keeps his matchbook collection in urns? Like urns for the dead? Like urns with the remnants of Egyptian pharaohs? Like urns with cremated remains? Please don't say he emptied Uncle Benny's urn from matchbooks. No, they're big glass bowls, but they look sort of like urns.
And I believe they're not called urns in an Egyptian tomb. I think they're called canopic jars.
Is that what they're called?
I believe so,
okay.
Yes.
From Lisa G. in New York City. I've never been a smoker, but I also love collecting match boxes and can happily report they're very existent and omnipresent across the New York City restaurant scene. I have small vases full of them everywhere in my home, and it's the first thing I look for anytime I walk into a restaurant. I try not to throw them away because, like Michael said, I think it would be nice to make a shadow box of all my favorite New York spots at some point. Keep your hopes alive. Also, my David Aldridge moment happened a while ago, but I haven't had a chance to write in because you haven't spoiled us with any savings or couponing stories of late. Come on. Anyway, I know Paul Taboni. He went to a rival high school of mine in the Bay Area, was part of my ex's friends group. He's a really great guy, super smart, earning an MBA from Notre Dame, and he married his high school sweetheart. Anyway, I look forward to hearing you follow him more during his trials and tribulations with the Nationals. P.S. The man to whom I'm soon to be related by marriage is a lifelong Knicks fan, and after they won the NBA Cup, he sat there and said, I realize I've never seen the Knicks presented with any trophy in my lifetime. For some of us, that memory won't fade by Friday. Happy holidays to you and the whole crew. Tony Russell, are you mentioning match books today? Really tugged at my heartstrings. My late father, like you, used to do a lot of travel, would bring back matches from all over the world so I could see the places he'd been. I then would do the same whenever I was able to pick some up. My daughters used to love upending the containers, looking for all the different places. So that's what they, my main worry presently is what my insurance company would say if they found out I was storing a huge incendiary device in the house. If it's not already taken, then I'd be the official matchbook correspondent from Australia. So Tony Russell is in Australia. Yeah, and he sends pictures of the matchbook, and they're much like mine. James Allgood saved the matchbooks and write a screenplay. Following the death of his iconic sports writer father, a drifting young man uncovers an archive of matchbooks from decades on the road. He sets out to visit each place, chasing a man he never knew and finding himself. Matt Malusa, Quakertown, Pennsylvania, about the big mouse. We're going to need a bigger toy. That's funny. That's from Jaws. From Jim in Lutherville. Usually you hear from me with updates to the latest edition of the classic Kornheiser Comments t-shirt line. Today I'm pleased to announce a new line of products, mouse ramps. The best way to move your mice to their peanut butter death trap. If the volume requires, we suggest a 2-lane mouse ramp. If things are really out of control, consider the mouse overpass. Please call before coming by the warehouse. Use the code, Jimmy.
Watch out for the mouse zipper merge.
Yeah, yes. From Steve in Arlington, thought you'd get a kick out of this. That's it. So it's oh my God, a Lifetime original movie, A Pickleball Christmas, with James Lafferty and Zibby Allen. Zibby?
It's like just Zibby, I guess.
Zibby? It's Lifetime, so they're moving in on the...
Sounds like it.
On the Hallmark Channel,
yeah.
Right? Steve is sycophant. By the way, I should answer him. I should say that I did see Jupiter, what I thought was Jupiter, in the eastern sky at about 7 o'clock the other night, on Wednesday night.
Nice.
The Hallmark Channel is rolling and now has added stories for people of the book. One is entitled Oi to the World, in which high school rivals must put aside their differences. They work together on a fundraising event for a damaged temple. Moving to the regular side, there's holiday mismatch as new retiree Barb joins a holiday committee but clashes with long-standing member Kath. When they discover their kids have started dating, they conspire to break up the happy couple I bet they feel. Oh, come on. This is just enough of these things. Brandon Borzelli, Lebanon, New Jersey. Some 15 years ago, I received a frantic call while at work from my dad, at about 65 years old, telling me his computer had gone crazy and everything was gone. After talking through what he was seeing, I was quickly getting nothing of importance, and my dad was just getting more and more upset and making less sense. Fearing he had clicked something on the internet, or worse, given some scam artist remote access to his computer, I left my office completely, headed to his house. Upon sitting down in front of his computer, I realized most of it seemed to be normal. Nothing seemed out of sorts with his internet, and anything I tried opening and closing did so without issue. His banking information was secure and untouched. My dad then opens Windows File Explorer to show me how everything was gone. I see a list of files starting with Z10, then Windows 10, then on and on. Big font and mostly folders. I said, Dad, what is it that you are missing? There seems to be a lot of stuff in this folder. After a lot of questioning, we finally land on the issue being that his personal files are missing, in which he tracks his vacations, spending, and most importantly, his bird-watching sightings. That file is entitled Birds. I then click the sort button at the top of File Explorer to sort the files in this folder A to Z instead of Z to A, as it was currently set, and my dad yells out, "You did it! You brought them back!" I feel Michael's pain.
Date modified.
Matt in San Antonio. If I take a phone call on 18 and then immediately double bogey, resulting in a final score that is tied for my best score ever, I get to blame the person who called for that double, right? And before Michael tells me not to take calls on the course or to take a minute to refocus or some other reasonable or rational advice, I'm not really looking for personal accountability for this show. I want someone to blame. I want to complain and rant and rage. That's why I love this show. P.S. The call may have been from a woman to whom I'm related by marriage, so let's
Never
just
take
keep
that
this
call.
between us. Justin Hibbett, Galena, Ohio. In an attempt to keep you informed as to the traffic patterns in Galena, Ohio, I just wanted to let you know a few days ago, Worthington Road between East Powell and Africa Road was closed for a significant gas line repair, causing hefty traffic issues in the southern Delaware County area. Happy to report all lanes have since reopened, and we await the next big roadway blockage worthy of your notification. With that said, would you allow me to be the official Galena, Ohio traffic reporter of the show? Yeah, sure. Joey from Medfield, Massachusetts. Find a spouse that talks about you like Mr. Tony talks about a 3-hour round of golf. Yeah. Scott Foster, not the referee, Manchester, Maine. My son just changed jobs. After a decade of being an assistant golf pro and instructor, he's joined the world of sales. He is spending a lot more time in the car, so he's looking for podcasts to listen to. Over the years, I've sent him your podcast a few times to listen to interviews with the occasional Dan Burns song. A couple of weeks ago, he calls me and he says, "Can you believe Sansi missed the call?" It took me a second, and then I realized he was hooked. He came home this weekend for an early Christmas with his sister and her family. He walked through the door and handed me a gift bag. He said, "Open this now. I just want to see your face." I reached in the bag, pulled out a Bethesda Bagels t-shirt. I started laughing, gave him a hug. The woman to whom I'm related by mortgage was confused and then rolled her eyes when I explained it. Please tell Tyler Foster to eat it. And thank you for giving me another thing my son and I can find. Leslie Thomas, Hillsborough, North Carolina. I hope you and the family have the most wonderful holiday season. I'm including my Christmas card photo. I tried to get my sister, the dogs, and the horses to cooperate for one great picture like all the beautiful ones I get. Here's what I got. There's 3 horses, and then there's a person's foot at the bottom. The person's foot. Like,
the horses look lovely.
The horses do look lovely. Please wish fellow Hillsborough resident Jeff Barger a Happy New Year to eat it. Ryan Mellett of Mice and Men's Jackets. Hey, Mr. Dr. Kornheiser, ever think you got mice and rats because, hello, you store winter jackets that are filled with dog treats? Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Joe Pearson in Indianapolis. Let me get this straight. The Lilyhammer jacket still works. And here I'd have thought Ann Bonny would have thrown it out because it had passed the best used by date stamped on the collar. Seriously, though, clothes only wear out their actual wear and tear, most notably washing. And given the stories of the jacket, it's rarely worn, much less laundered. Now, maybe your moth friends will eventually get used to it, but they seem perfectly satisfied with your apparently very tasty sweaters. P.S. I have concert T-shirts older than Michael that still work. Nico Italiani from Easton, Pennsylvania. The story of your Lilyhammer jacket makes me think of my childhood. I often would be sent out in the cold wearing mismatched gloves and a jacket 2 sizes too big. Whenever I asked my dad for some appropriately sized clothes, he would always reply, "Ain't no style points in cold homes." So next time someone has a comment about your puke green Lilyhammer jacket, you can just reply, "Ain't no style points in cold homes." You're welcome. Jeff Hines, Carmel, Indiana. I just finished listening to today's podcast. I really enjoyed the segment with David Remnick about the New Yorker magazine and the documentary. While asking him about what he wore, it occurred to me that you might potentially have to consider this wardrobe question yourself Should there be a documentary about PTI? Allow me to suggest a few things based on previous discussions you've had on the pod. Morph jacket, Lilyhammer coat, sailor hat optional, pants optional. It would kill. And from Steve Gilmore in San Angelo, Texas, the most disappointing part of Rivers' comeback is that he doesn't take the field in his house robe over his pants, wearing Crocs like a proper retiree. If you're out on your bike tonight, everyone, as always, to wear white.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
All right, so that's it for the Tony Kornheiser Show episodes. I think we're going to make this runway. Better gas up the engine a little bit, hit the throttle a little bit. As far as the Oklahoma-Alabama game, Alabama just scored a touchdown to take the lead, so they're down 17-0. And now with 11:21 to go in the third quarter, Alabama now in the lead 24-17. 24 unanswered points from the Crimson Tide here. I think this is a airstrip. We're going to say it is. And this will be where we take off from next time as we continue our tour of Cuba. And we'll continue on through other islands in the Caribbean. But episode 3 is going to be all within Cuba. Hopefully we're going to be able to hit this. I think we're going to be okay. Alabama with the lead against Oklahoma as I am landing this plane here. Oh, it's going to be a perfect landing. Oh, yeah. That's great. Perfect landing. See if I can remember how to turn the engine off and get out of the plane. Maybe we can take a little walk. Getting out of the plane is L1 and circle. There we go. I forget how to turn off the plane, but we're going to let that go. I wonder what happens if we walk into the propeller blade. Oh, I guess we're fine. There's our co-pilot. She's staying inside. But here we are in Cuba. This is where we'll take off from next time. And wonder how far we can walk. Actually, it doesn't look that bad walking around on the ground. Got some palm trees here in Cuba. Here's my outfit. Got to do a fit check. We could just walk across the world. I saw someone saying that someone's going to have that idea to try to walk across the entire world. This pace would be fairly funny. Look at the detail in these trees, though. That's interesting. I still see my plane over there. Oh, hit a tree. All right, we're going to call it as we're wandering into the groves of trees here in Cuba. We'll see you probably, well, maybe next or maybe mid next week. Usually this is a Friday thing, but who knows? Maybe we'll feel crazy and do a midweek episode next week for since I will be off for Christmas Eve and Christmas. Until whenever that next episode is, this is signing out from wandering the forests of Cuba.